licensing reimagined.
Long time coming, black on the bottom of my feet from running. Cataracts under my eyes from hustling. Going from buying to selling to customers. Run up the business, God is my witness. Turn up the sun up from under the sun. We maxing the limits. My mind running like Tom Cruise on an action movie. Moving the mission, they say that I'm tripping. I've been told I need a vacation. I'm finessing a visit.
Ooh, what is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers and welcome to Stat Diggers for UFC Vegas 105. And we are back in the Apex. It feels like it's been a week or two, maybe three, since we've been in the Apex, but we are back. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this card. It is an Apex card, but it is a card that I feel like is going to produce some pretty fun and exciting fights. We have a couple spots sticking out. I can't wait to break it down with my Uncle Weezy in the chat. What is up, Uncle Weezy? Are you looking forward to UFC Vegas 105?
I am, yeah. So like normally, Brady, right? What are we in week 10 of an 11-week stretch, or maybe week 11 of a 12-week stretch? We're tired, both of us, and usually when you get a card like this, with Talita, Alencar versus Demopoulos, Istela Nunes is on this card. Buday is on this card. Cortavious, Romious versus Chang-Ho Lee. We got a veteran matchup between Meerschaert and Tavares. Pedro, Falcao. It's definitely UFC Vegas 105. But I kind of like this card, man. Like normally I'd be like, God, why are they doing this to us? I need a week off, but I feel like I'm seeing some angles here. I feel like there's going to be some betting opportunities on this card. And hey, the best cards are the ones where we make money, Brady. So hopefully we find some great spots here today, because there's a good amount of spots. There's a good amount of variance, I think, that could play into this card. And that's a good feature of betting MMA. So if we get some variance, we might get some big plus money opportunities to stack cash tickets like flapjacks on this card. And I'm looking to continue doing that, Brady, because we're both hot.
Yeah, very hot. Very hot. Very hot.
And I'm not talking about the bets. I mean, like we got a bunch of people tuning in for more reasons than just we know MMA. I mean, when there's some eye candy here, we're gonna put some eye candy up on the screen besides Brady and I. I mean, like, and then there's gonna be eye candy watching these fights while we're making a bunch of money watching them too. So, Stat Diggers, man, we're here every Sunday night and we're never late.
We're never freaking late, dude. Ever. 2025 has been great, man. It feels good that underdogs are cashing this year. That's fun. It's fun hitting underdog bets. Violence bets are cashing. People are getting knocked out. People are getting submitted once again. I feel like the UFC is great again. 2024, all favorites, all decisions. 2025 is the year of the underdog and the year of the violence. So hopefully that trend continues this card, because there are a lot of dogs sticking out on this card. I think there's a lot of plus money spots sticking out, a couple of violent spots sticking out. And like I said, I can't wait to talk it through with you guys. All right, before we get started here, we're going to do a quick recap of last night. I'm going to kick it to you first, Weezy. But first, we have to shout out the sponsor of the show, and that is our guy, Avery. Shout out to Avery for sponsoring the show. Go give him a follow at MMA_Very on X. If you guys have not gave him a follow, give him a follow right now. He does a weekly giveaway where he'll do like a 2 or 3 leg parlay. And if he hits that parlay, he gives half the winnings to somebody that likes, retweets the tweet and all that. And he did it. He did it this week. He had a 3-leg parlay. I think it was like the Ateba under, maybe the Torrez money line, and then I think the Dober under, something like that. But it hit. Yep. And he, I think it had like a decent amount of likes. So whoever won that's going to get a pretty hefty payout. So go follow Avery. Also post his takes as well. Shout out to Avery for sponsoring the show. Really good guy as well. So guys, go give him a follow. So do you want to bring up the piping of the week last week? It pushed. So it didn't win. It didn't lose. It pushed. We did not get to see the fight. Joe Pyfer pulled out on fight day due to a sickness. So we didn't get to see a piping, which sucks because there was a lot of pipings, last night. We saw Manuel Torrez pipe Drew Dober. We saw Jamal Emmers pipe Gabriel Miranda. We saw a couple pipings last night, but Unfortunately, we did not get to see Joe Bodybags Piper potentially pipe Kelvin Gastelum on site. The Stat Diggers milking of the week kinda comes through.
Yeah.
Ron Rosas Jr. to milk Vince Morales. I mean, he won the fight. Did he milk him? No. If anything, Vince Morales was the one trying to kind of squeeze the milk out of Raul Rosas Jr., try to squeeze the milk right out of his neck in that third round. I mean, that submission was deep. So shout out to Vince Morales. Didn't get the win, but fought under, very bad circumstances. So milking of the week, he won, but did he milk him? I don't really think so. The Stat Diggers parlay of the week. It comes through. Once again, Weezy, the Stat Diggers parlay of the week was the Jamal Emmers, Gabriel Miranda under 2.5 rounds. Check. And the Edgar Torrez money line. Check. I don't know what it is with these parlays, dude, but not only have these parlays been hitting on Sunday, but they've been hitting with like flying colors. Like there was never a doubt. Like you can tell in the first 30 seconds of the Emmers fight, this in the first round. And then you can tell in the first minute of the Torrez fight that Torrez was about to finish this dude quickly. So, yeah, everything went good in that aspect. Hopefully we get a proper milking this card, which there are a couple options. Proper on-site piping, and I think we'll find some spots. But Weezy, both me and you had pretty good nights. I think we're both on 4 event winning streaks here. Go ahead and talk about how UFC Mexico City went for you last night.
Well, it was the worst of the last 4 weeks, but I'll take it, man. It was up 2.94 units. My prop bets worked out well, and for the first time in a minute, I lost some money on money line bets. I had 3 money line bets on this card. My dog pick of the week was Austin Hubbard. Had 1.5 units on him at plus 143. That bet was looking so good there in the third round. And Mark Helmadero scrambled. Hubbard went to take his back, wound up on bottom, took some damage, and wound up losing that one on the judges' scorecards. That was really close, man. And then my most confident by far money line play and just play of the week was the Drew Dober money line. I really, really thought that he was going to make that look easy. And yeah, we all know, when you bet on these older fighters and the chin starts to maybe crack a little bit and that there's a lot of miles on the engine, it all kind of came together there, and Manny Torrez just landed a beautiful 1-2 and finished the fight, I really thought that Dober was going to get that done. I had 2 units on him at plus 105. And then but I also had 1.5 units on Melchizedek Costa's money line at plus 140. That was my least confident money line bet of the week. But at the same time, I really thought that the size was going to make a difference there. And I think it did, because when Melky got on top, he did some pretty good work and he landed some good stuff in the clinch there that led to him getting some top time there. So I lost 1.4 units on my money line bets. I had Edgar Chairez to win in rounds 1 or 2 for 1 unit at plus 250. Hit that bet. And then the probability parlay cashed. It was Chairez's money line under 1.5 rounds for Emmers and Miranda. And then the Joe Pyfer money line, which obviously pushed. So I was up 2.94 units. I won 4.34 units on my prop bets. Lost 1.4 units on my money line bet. Drew Dober was the ass shaving of the week, Brady. That was horrible. It should have been Chairez. I was so confident in Chairez, but I went with Dober because he was the much cheaper price, and I felt like I was just as confident, if not more, in Drew Dober than I was in Chairez. So that just didn't go well for me. And the dog pick of the week was Austin Hubbard's money line, and then the greasy 4-legger didn't come through because I had Austin Hubbard's money line in the greasy 4-leggers. So yeah, there's a couple things I definitely need to clean up, but up 2.94 units yesterday, 8.21 units the week before that, 7.74 units the week before that, and 5.78 units the week before that. It's like a 30% return on investment and something in the mid-20s for units that I'm up this year. So I'm just hoping to keep it going here, man. Keep letting these dogs cash. Keep picking these money line winners and keep stacking cash tickets like flapjacks.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you in terms of it was a winning night, but it's one of those where it's like, yeah, it was a slight winning night for me, up about a unit, but I just felt like it should have been a monster night. I mean, I don't say this a ton, but there was so many free money opportunities on last night's card. For example, Jamal Emmers, Gabriel Miranda. Why wasn't I max betting the under 2.5? Why wasn't I max betting the fight doesn't go to decision at like minus 200? You could tell from the first 30 seconds that fight, there was no way in hell it was even reaching the second round, let alone 15 minutes with the way those two are fighting. So I thought that was a missed opportunity, even though I had the fight won't start round 3 for 2 units. I didn't go heavy enough. I even said to you midweek, I was like, dude, I want to absolutely send it on Emmers inside the distance and David Martinez inside the distance. I want to do it, but it's Jamal Emmers. It's a newcomer in David Martinez. So
he's a debutant too. Martinez is a debutant. Emmers is just absolutely
He's
fucked
Emmers.
up a couple of times.
He's Jamal Emmers. But I feel like that was kind of should have been easy money. The other easy money opportunity that I feel like I took advantage of a little bit, but not enough. Ateba Godier going against Jose Daniel Medina. That fight was hilarious, dude. He was beating the crap out of Medina, and then he hits him with a big shot. And Medina, he was like, he was doing the come on. He got hit so hard, he was clearly rocked, and he was trying to like, come on. You can tell he was like, God, come on. And then he lands a knee. And then the ref stops. It was Medina out. No, but it is what it is. So what made no sense to me in that fight, Weezy, was you had Ateba Godier minus 500, the under 1.5, plus 140, plus 150. In what world does that make sense? I know Medina is durable, but he's also the biggest punching bag in UFC history. So I felt like that, was, an easy money play. I did have the under 1.5 rounds for 1.5 units, but probably should have been bigger. And then we talked about it. Me, you, and Avery got on a call Wednesday, Thursday night, and we were like, Godier round 1 KO plus 280.
Yeah.
Plus
Dude,
280.
the round 1 prop was plus 265. I had my fucking finger. That was the one bet I didn't make this week.
Yeah.
I sat there and I looked at it and I go, watch this guy pull a Josias Musa. That was what I was thinking. I was like, watch him just completely blow it. But, it played out exactly like I thought it would. Just like Drederick Tatum versus Homer Simpson. It was the same matchup, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, I felt like that was a missed opportunity. Should have just sent it on Ateba Godier, KO1, KO2, under 1.5, but didn't do that. The other free money spot of the night was Manuel Torres, Drew Dober, under 1.5 rounds. I got it at minus 160, and I'm like, this should literally be like minus 500. This is a Manuel Torres fight. And it's like the under closed around like minus 160. Like people were betting the over in the fight. And again, you could tell in the first minute, the fight's not reaching the second round. This is a Manuel Torres fight. They did 18 fights, Weezy, 17 of which finished in the first. Now it's 18 of 19 have finished in the first. Why was the Manuel Torres under 1.5 like minus 160? It just doesn't make sense. So I feel like I went hard on that, but that probably should have been max bet. And then what kind of hurt me the most was David Martinez, Simon Oliveira. I had a really strong read on this fight. My strong read was David Martinez is going to break Simon Oliveira. And I bet the KO 2-3 earlier in the week. It was one of my first bets of the week was the Martinez KO 2-3. They're massive numbers. It was like plus 420 for KO 2-3. And then throughout the week, I start, gathering some more information about Oliveira. Not only he had the layoff, but Oliveira also arrived in Mexico City like Monday night, Tuesday morning. What are you doing, Simon Oliveira?
Yeah.
You're on a 2-year layoff. You arrive to Mexico City, Monday night, Tuesday morning. What are you doing? And then I found out like midweek, this guy did an interview and he talked about almost dying, dude. This guy apparently, what was it? He had a
ruptured intestine.
Ruptured intestine. And I actually had a medical professional on my best bet show, Gordo Gamble's future medical professional. And I asked him, I said, is a ruptured intestine bad? And he confirmed that it's indeed bad. So this guy almost died, 2-year layoff. And I'm sitting there with my Martinez KO 2-3. And I'm like, it might be round 1. It might be round one, and it was. So I should have sent it on the KO in general was opened plus 180. It did get smashed all week, but if Simon Oliveira could have lasted to the second or third round, like that was like a 5-unit swing for me. So, I mean, a win's a win, but it could have been a monster night had Simon Oliveira lasted 20 more seconds. Simon Oliveira, get some help. I don't want to say too many mean things about the guy. The guy almost died, but get some help. Get some help. Speaking of get some help, I did do a poll, Easy, and there are a couple fighters that do need some help. I'm now going to end the poll. We actually have 116 votes on the poll, which is a lot. Option number one, and I want to get your thoughts on this one too. Okay, option number one, Luis Ronaldo, lazy boy Rodriguez. This dude, not only did he miss weight, not only was he lazy and didn't want to cut the extra pound, came in, weighed in early, decided not to cut that extra pound, but he also was lazy in the cage and decided to not try to grapple, not try to push a pace. Very confusing, very lazy game plan from Luis Ronaldo, lazy boy Rodriguez. So he was option number one. Option number two, Drew Dober. Drew Dober. This guy went out there, hit a big shot against Manuel Torrez, and then took about 50 follow-up shots to the back side of the head. Wasn't a good look. Drew Dober potentially needs some help. Option number three, Jose Funky Cold Medina, 23%. Potentially needs some help. Very hittable. Got knocked out. Maybe he needs some help. Maybe he doesn't. And then finally, Kerry Hatley. Kerry Hatley absolutely potentially needs help. So out of those four options, Weezy, who do you think needs the most help?
Oh, it's definitely Lazy Boy for me, man. I picked him to win, but then I was kind of like, after he weighed in, I was like, oh man, that's not good, dude. I think Borjas might knock him out. And he showed so much durability in that fight. And I think maybe the reason that he didn't wrestle was because he got his brains absolutely scrambled in the first round. I mean, Borjas was tagging him. So maybe that's why. But I mean, like, dude, that was a bad performance. Bad weight cut. Bad fight night performance. Bad game plan. Like everything went wrong for Luis Rodriguez, dude. He needs some help, dude.
Yeah, he definitely needs some help. So, but yeah, it is what it is, Weez. Let's see if we can make it 5 in a row for UFC Vegas 105. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to talking with the chat. We got Fromage Frog, first one in the building. What is up? Dixon Sider, get some help. Posey Medina. Is Drew Dober washed bum? Looks like it, man. Looks like he might potentially be a washed bum. We got Bazzi checking in nice and early. Zero saying late. Who's late? We weren't late. There's no way we were late.
Yeah,
the boys are. Yeah, it must be so. The boys are on site piping these cards 4 hours early. There we go. Yeah, I think we were a little bit early as well, which is awesome. We got Andy in the building. We got the Carrillo in the building. KC. We got Chuckles Plays. Forrest Daniel. 10-2 Forrest last night. I think I went like 9-3 on the picks. KC went 11-12 with the picks. There you go.
Wow.
But still lost. Yeah, the props are kind of tricky last night. Props are kind of tricky. Not a ton of things came through that were kind of expected to. Get some help, Simon Oliveira. I agree. Lazy Boy is such an appropriate nickname. 100%. We got the man behind the Andrade pictures, Marcel Selly Wap Breezy, 10-15, never ever late. I agree. We got Neil in the building. What is up, Rowdy? We got Demu. We got 10-20, never a minute earlier. Come on, Marcel.
What?
Come on.
This guy's got a lot of nerve. He's sending out Jessica Andrade pictures and then has when his clock is off by like 9 minutes and he's bitching at us. No chance, dude. Come on, man.
Get some help, Marcel. Get some help. Oh, we got Paul in the building. Loopy Goudini. Yeah, she got it done. She got it done.
That was a great fight, by the way. Pilastri's third round was incredible.
That was fun, dude. Like, she came forward like a zombie. It was good.
Yeah.
And Carbs knows what's up. I mean, Death Tax and Stat Digger starting always on. We're always on time. Dixon, the mod of the channel, smash a like. Agreed. We got 4-ounce sniper with the $1.99. Give Brady and Uncle Weezy money now. Hashtag pipe it up. I think there's a song that goes pipe it up. Maybe by the Migos. Pipe it up. Pipe it up. You're probably not a Migos fan, huh?
Who?
Migos.
I don't know. No, I'm not. I don't know who they are.
Pipe it up. Hey, pipe it up. What? Pipe it up. It's good. Maybe it can be our theme song if there wasn't copyright. Maybe I'll have to sing it myself. Christian Rodriguez needs help coming up with the game plan other than the cage pushing for 15 minutes. Yeah, very questionable game plan there, but he looked good in the third. Brady, what's the intro song? My mind moving like Tom Cruise in an action movie. Hey, I don't know. I don't know what it's called, but maybe I'll find out and I'll let you know, Sam. Loma's gonna milk Istela Nunes.
Yeah,
potentially could be on the short list for a milking. Martin Buday fight week. Let's go. Put Ketchaware on screen. I don't want to lose the 290 viewers we have, so that will not be happening. We have Andy with the $4.99 saying, thanks, guys. Made a bit of coin in the Mexico fight card, but now it's Buday fight week. Hashtag pipe it up. Pipe it up.
Pipe it up.
There we go. We got Evan in the building. What is up? Nick in the building as well. KD, good to see you in here. PSSA, Drew Dober once invincible chin gone. It's gone, dude. It's gone. It's sad. It's sad, but it's gone. Like, he's one of those guys where it's like Drew Dober's never getting knocked out. And then Matt Favola cracks the chin. And then Torrez, I think Torrez officially cracked the chin. Yes.
Yeah, and Gene Silva put him through some problems too. That's for sure, man.
He certainly did.
Yeah.
He certainly did. That's disgusting, Dixon. Let's keep moving on. Kerry Hatley needs % not out. Hey, I went to. I'm going to Vegas in the next couple of weeks with a petition, trying to get Kerry Hatley in prison for what he did to both Bobby Green and Jalen Turner. He took several years off of Bobby Green's life, and he basically retired Jalen Turner. So he ruined 2 careers, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. People were actually betting on Medina round 3 sub. Hey. I mean, if it got there, could have been live. Could have been live. That knee finished him. Yeah, that was a brutal. That knee kills most people, but Medina's so
God.
That knee
I couldn't believe Medina was still awake. That was vicious. That looked like it would have. That looked like a skull breaker,
dude.
That
Medina
like the one that Michael Page got Cyborg with. That literally broke his skull.
It did, but Medina wasn't out. He was laying on the ground like, come on.
Yeah, I know.
Come on
into my guard.
Come on. To be honest, the ref could have let it keep going. I mean, Medina seemed to be really aware of, but I'm fine with the stoppage. But geez, Medina's next level tough. I mean, that knee would have murdered most people. Let's see, Brady, my dude, I love you, but the excuses you're laying, you need to get help. What excuses about the David Martinez KO 2-3? I don't know. Roses broke Morales' arm via chin strike. Yes. Now Brady needs accountability. There we go. You bros, we don't take accountability, do we? That's not something we do on this show.
No. Great people never take accountability. Look at any politicians. Do they ever take accountability? And politicians are great people.
Yeah.
When we make great bets, Brady, that's on us. When we make bad bets, it's on the fighters. This is how life works, people.
I agree. I mean, I bet on Christian Rodriguez. I beat the line movement by, what do you close it, minus 250 for some reason.
Yeah. A lot of money came in on him.
And I knew right then and there he was going to lose. But yeah, I mean, is it my fault that Christian Rodriguez lost, or is it his fault that he tried to cage push a much bigger Mel Costa for the first round and a half? I don't know, but no, just kidding. That was a bad bet. So there's your accountability, Bennett Clark. You won it. I made a bad bet on Christian Rodriguez. There you have it. There is your accountability. Yes.
And I made a bad bet on Drew Dober.
Oh, a lot of people did. I mean, I like Dober a ton too, dude.
I loved him. I loved him this week, man. And I mean, I just felt like a complete asshole.
Yeah. Dude, this dude's... I just... let me get to the comments, man. Benny, you're kind of ruining the vibe. It's all about having fun. We're talking about fucking haircuts and shit on this show. Let's stop being negative, dude. This Bennett needs to get laid by a woman. We need to get Bennett. If you're a woman out there, let's get Bennett laid. Get Bennett laid. Get Bennett laid. Get Bennett laid. That's
Let's
the vibes
go.
I'm getting. The vibes I'm getting is you need to get laid because you're being an absolute dick. An absolute dick. We got Marcel. We got Big Steve. You went up 153 units? Are you serious?
Dude, Big Steve is absolutely on fire right now. I know that he won like 62 units on Asian dick kicking this weekend.
Dang.
He cleaned up on the UFC, boxing. The guy's an absolute legend.
Shout out Big Steve. Heck yeah. Big Steve, great guy as well. Martin Buday is getting his ass shaved. RIP Dober, milking of the week, Loma by submission. Can't wait to talk about that. Who does a Taba fight next? Good question. I don't think many people are going to be accepting that fight. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. That one you better. I mean, like, he's already taken out one of the most durable guys in the division, man. I would not want to be hit by that guy.
No. Best humor on the space, Uncle Weezy, you're a legend. Shout out to Bub Collins for the $1.99. Appreciate you, Bub. Let's see. Loma minus 650. Never thought I'd see it. Well, she's fighting Istela Nunes. Istela Nunes. He did. He took accountability. Come on.
Yeah, that one was on me, man. And I want to say it again. I was so confident in that bet, man. I really thought that, like, oh man, this guy Torrez, he's round 1 KO or bust. Dober's more versatile. He's got better durability. He's got better conditioning. He's the better wrestler, probably. Oh man, was I wrong?
Yeah, I was wrong too. I picked Dober, and I thought he was gonna destroy Torrez, quite frankly. But I like the under even more. Bennett needs to get milked. Oh, I don't know about that. Yeah, we got Vanessa Demopoulos, the robbery queen herself. I mean,
how dare you? How dare you? She's gotten every win that she's deserved, man. Vanessa's a good fighter, man. She's ready to go again this weekend.
Dude, she's like 7-2. She should be like 2-7. It's hilarious. But hey, she keeps winning. She keeps winning fights. Heck yeah. Let's see. All right. Let's get into it. We've been chatting back and forth. I went after Bennett a little bit. I'm sure Bennett's a great guy. Bennett, if you're listening to this, I'm sure you're a great guy. It's all fun. Let's just keep it cool, dude. Let's keep it cool. All right. Before we get into it, guys, smash the like button, pipe it up, and I say we get into it. We're going to start with the first fight of the card. It is Loma Lookboonmee going against Istela Nunes. We got Loma Lookboonmee, 29 years old, 5'1", with a 61-inch reach. Istela Nunes, 32 years old, 5'4", with a 66-inch reach. We got Loma, 3 years younger. We got Istela Nunes with a 3-inch height advantage and a 5-inch reach advantage. We got Loma Lookboonmee, 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Decision win against Sam Hughes. Decision loss against Lupita Godinez. A decision win against Denise Gomes. Submission win against Elise Reed. And then a decision win against Bruna Brazil. As far as Istela Nunes, she is 1-4 in her last 5 fights. Made her debut against Ariana Carnelosi. Lost the fight by 3rd-round submission. Lost to Sam Hughes by decision. Lost to Yasmin Haregi by 2nd-round knockout. And then she got injured in the Dudikova fight. One of the most gruesome injuries you'll probably see. So, yeah, we have 3 WMMA fights on this card, and 2 of them we have massive favorites. Loma Lookboonmee is a minus 650 favorite now. Istela Nunes plus 475. And yeah, I mean, I think Istela Nunes has a lot of things going against her here. She was supposed to fight Molly McCann in what seemed to have been Molly McCann's retirement fight. So she probably had a much better opportunity of potentially pulling off the upset there. But here, I don't know. Istela Nunes, I think she's actually a decent striker with some solid power for the first like 5 to 7.5 minutes. But as the fight goes on, she really slows down. So the cardio is very questionable. The grappling is very questionable. And it should be Loma here. I think Loma early on, it might be competitive, but Loma should be the better striker. 2-3. Wouldn't even shock me if Loma mixed in some takedowns here down the stretch. Istela Nunes, massive layoff. 0-4 in the UFC. Quite frankly, I'm not sure what's going on here. Like, why is Nunes getting another shot here? Like 0-4, you would think that like that'd be it, but maybe because of the injury, I don't know. I don't get it. But yeah, this should be Loma, but she is a minus 650 favorite here. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, there's not much to talk about. I mean, but just because Estela's, the career trajectory for Istela Nunes, I mean, like it's like sub-zero. Like there's no place even down to go. She's on a 4-fight losing streak. She's almost on a 2-year layoff and is coming off one of the most gruesome injuries that you'll ever see. She's one-dimensional. She's just a striker. Her grappling is ass. And then to make it even worse, the conditioning is horrible. She's got about 6 or 7 minutes of gas, and then it's just completely over. And if you make her wrestle, the gas tank empties even faster. She's got a little bit of power. She's a solid striker. On paper, pre-injury, this is actually probably a pretty close fight, but they're making Loma a minus 650 favorite here for those reasons. It's because Istela, the recency bias could not be any more negative on Istela Nunes. And I mean, I'm not really sure how you come to the conclusion that she's making improvements in this time off. That injury, I don't know how long it took to rehab, but that wasn't a 4 to 6 week rehab, Brady. I mean, her arm, like I couldn't even watch that fight. I will never go back and watch that fight again, just simply because of the noise that Istela made after that injury was somebody who thought that they were dying. I mean, and it was bad to look at. I mean, that was just absolutely awful. And if we're being honest, Brady, I mean, like, come on, that's a fucking career-ending injury, is it not?
I mean, I'm not a medical professional, but it looked pretty bad.
I mean, if you're a striker, right, and your left arm gets completely severed, I mean, you're no longer really going to be able to perform at a professional level athletically. And she wasn't even a good UFC fighter to begin with. So it's unfortunate because I feel like if we were getting prime Istela Nunes, that this would be a very interesting fight because they're both Muay Thai strikers, but Istela is taller. She's longer. She's got good power. It would be a lot more interesting of a fight, but Istela is probably done for. I mean, like that was a career-ending injury. And if she came back and won after a 1 year and 8-month layoff, it would be shocking after what she's been through with this injury.
Yeah, and I agree. Like if this was prime Istela Nunes, I think it'd be a very competitive fight for the first, 6-7 minutes.
Yeah,
but
agreed.
But 2-year layoff, one of the most gruesome injuries you'll see. 4-fight scale. Like I'm just not sure what's going on here. So yeah, I like Loma here. Who was Loma? Loma was supposed to originally fight somebody else, right?
Yeah. So obviously Istela was supposed to fight Molly, and Loma was supposed to fight. Let me look here. Ariane Carnelossi.
Oh, that'd been a fun fight. I like Carnelossi.
Yeah, that would have been a good one. Yeah. But now Loma's fighting Istela here, who, and this might be a case of because the injury was so gruesome that they were like, hey, we'll give you a couple more fights, because you kind of took one for the team here. Yeah.
No, it's I don't like Nunes's chances. Like I really don't know what the win condition is, to be honest. But that's why Loma's a big favorite. So Loma, she's currently sitting at minus 650. Istela Nunes plus 475. The over-under is set at 2.5. The over 2.5 minus 280. The under 2.5 is plus 220. So Nunes has been finished a couple times. Nunes has been finished 4 times, actually. 2 by submission, 2 by knockout. One of the knockouts was the injury, though. Loma, not much of a finisher, but, it wouldn't completely shock me if Loma was able to potentially break her late, especially if we do see like a diminished, like a wash, like a worse version of Nunes, and seeing a worse version of Nunes, Just wouldn't shock me at this point. So yeah, I wouldn't touch the over, but if I was going to play violence, I would kind of want those extra 2.5 minutes since Nunes is kind of a gasser.
Agreed. And Dravi's saying like it's weird that Nunes pulled out for the McCann fight, but she pulled out because it was a visa issue. It wasn't an injury. So because it was, Brazil to the UK, and the fight was made kind of late. That's why Nunes couldn't make that fight. It wasn't injury related. It was visa related. So she was already kind of like in the hopper and looking for a fight. And when the visa issues came up, they matched her up with Loma after Carnelossi had to pull out.
Yep, with some visa issues, and now she gets a much tougher test than a retiring Molly McCann. That's for sure. I'm hearing this fight's off. It's off some of the books already. It better not be.
No, it might be off some of the books because it was supposed to be Carnelossi Loma.
Yeah, that could be it.
And they had that line, and then that line got pulled. So they're probably, this was made just a few days ago. So maybe that's why.
Yeah, Loma's gonna pull it out. Pull what out? I'm confused. And pipe Istela onside. What is she pulling out? I don't know.
Maybe a foreign object out of those tights, like Cowboy Bob Orton style, Brady.
Yes. People forget Loma can grapple. That she can. She can get takedowns. Just ask Elise Reed if she can grapple. Remember that?
And Denise Gomez too.
Yeah, Loma's she's improving. Whereas Istela Nunes, I don't know. I don't think so. It is Vanessa Demopoulos fight week. I know Vanessa is one of Uncle Weezy's favorite female fighter. Do you still have Vanessa as your wallpaper? Or?
Yeah, man, it's been good luck. It's been incredibly good luck ever since I put Vanessa up as my screensaver. It's her Tapology picture, which is a top 5 Tapology picture of all time. We're talking Vanessa Demopoulos, Makwan Amirkhani. You
Shamil,
got
handsome Shamil,
the very handsome Shamil Abdurrahimov. Even I used to like Albert Durayev's picture next to that Mercedes. That clearly wasn't his.
Wait, who is the chick with the backpack? Just got off from school.
Zola, like some Ukrainian chick. Yeah, that's right.
I couldn't believe that, dude. Oh, that was hilarious. I forget which fight that was from, but
she was an opponent of one of the girls who just had a brutal resume going into the fights.
Yeah.
This is one of the girls that she fought. I forgot who it was though.
If somebody knows, let us know. But I doubt anybody remembers the Ukrainian's name. Is Loma finishing is or not the question? I think she could potentially, and I think you're going to get solid odds on it considering the under's big plus money there. Yeah. 10K to show and get your arm cracked sounds like a terrible deal. It sounds awful.
Yeah, and that wasn't even just a break. It was worse than a break. It was a dislocated elbow. It's like it's so much worse.
Oh God. Loma sub potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially. You late bastard. Well, who's late?
You're probably talking to somebody else again,
Yeah. We got our guy, Carrillo. F Carrillo with the 44. I like it. Appreciate you, Carrillo. He says, gents, all love to you both in getting back to solid grounds and always appreciate the insights for a nice lick. I love licking it up on the show here. Appreciate you, the Carrillo. Carrillo's been around for a while, so I appreciate you, Carrillo, a ton, man.
That's awesome.
Heck yeah. Vanessa has the mega lip grip. Okay. Vanessa is a good lay. All right.
Hey-o.
I know it's late, but let's stop being so horny. We're trying to make money. We got a Whistler with the 199. Appreciate you, Whistler, with the 199 super sticker. Appreciate you, man. What else we got?
Zoya Litvinenko. That was it.
Dude, I'm gonna look.
That was the name of the girl on Tapology. Let me. I'm typing that in right now.
Zoya
Litvinenko.
Litvin.
There it was.
Good.
Litvinenko. 0-3. He's at her high school.
Okay, I think okay, there. I'll pull it up.
So who did she fight? It was Claudia Segula. Who got finished in the first round. That was one of.
Who'd you get finished by?
Let me click on Claudia. I already forgot.
Was it Melissa? Was it Melissa Mullins?
Melissa No Mess Mullins, ground and pound, 1:20 into round 2.
Dude, I had like the Mullins inside the distance there at a big number. Just because of this picture. Just because all you needed to look at was this picture and you knew Mullins was finishing that girl. I can't believe
she
that.
didn't even finish that girl.
Oh, God.
Like, that girl went a full 3 rounds with her.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Let's get this off the screen. But that's hilarious. That is hilarious. All right, Weezy, let's move on to the next fight. We have your girl, Vanessa Demopoulos, going against Talita Alencar. We got Demopoulos, 36 years old, 5'2" with a 59-inch reach. Alencar, 34 years old, 5'1" with a 58-inch reach. We got Alencar 2 years younger. Demopoulos with a 1-inch height advantage and a 1-inch reach advantage. Demopoulos is 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Decision win against Maria Oliveira. Decision loss against Karolina Kovacevic. A decision win against Kanaka Murata. A decision win against Emily Ducote. And then a submission loss against Jacqueline Ann Marine. As far as Talita Alencar, she has 3-1 and 1 draw in her last 5 fights. She had that draw against Stephanie Luciano on the Contender Series. Made her debut against Rayon dos Santos. Won that fight by split decision. And then she lost a decision to Stephanie Luciano. So this is a fight that I'm probably going to just completely avoid, because here's how I'm kind of looking at it. Like, I think that Alencar has really solid grappling, BJJ black belt, decent takedowns, not the best wrestler, but I think she can take down Demopoulos, who just has no takedown defense. But there's, the big problem with Alencar for me is the cardio is just really bad. She slows down as the fight goes on. And we saw in her fight against Luciano, she was kind of worried about gassing out to the point that she didn't fight. Like, she didn't fight in that fight. So that wasn't a good look. So Vanessa's probably going to be, very active when she's on her back, the better cardio. And the thing that scares me, if I were to bet on this fight, is if this fight goes to decision, which it probably will, the scorecards are already written, man. Vanessa Demopoulos in Vegas. So a lot of line movement on this one. When I was looking at this fight a couple days ago, Alencar was like plus 135, and now she's minus 120. So the line kind of flipped here. It's a fight that I'm completely avoiding. Weezy, do you have any interest in this fight here?
Potentially, yes. I still need to tape it. But I like, for it, the way I'm looking at this fight is like Vanessa Demopoulos is just a better version of Talita Alencar. Because Talita's the more decorated Brazilian jiu-jitsu player. She's a world champion, at the black belt level. So she's got more Brazilian jiu-jitsu accolades, but let's face it, that's where Vanessa's best. Vanessa's the strength of her game is her Brazilian jiu-jitsu. She's always been a grappler first. But she's got way better cardio. She's way more durable. She's way more powerful on the feet. She's the better striker. Conditioning isn't even close. And strength of schedule, not even close. And we're in Vegas.
Oh.
So, I mean, like 80% of these, judges in Vegas have been at a strip club where Vanessa's worked, So, like, I mean, like, who are we kidding, man? I mean, like, the Jin Yu Fry fight, don't know if she won it. The Maria Oliveira fight, don't know if she won it. The Kanako Murata fight, dude, she did not win that fight. That was one of the biggest robberies of the year. There's no fucking way that Vanessa won the Kanako Murata fight. Okay. And then the Ducote fight, right? Over and over and over again, we see it happening. Vanessa Demopoulos lost to Karolina Kovacevic. That was a 30-27. I mean, Talita can't strike like Karolina can. And Jacqueline Amarine is just a way better version of Talita Alencar. Jacqueline Amarine would absolutely fucking smoke Alencar, all right? Because the striking is way different between those two, and Jacqueline's wrestling is way better. So I think people are thinking that Talita is going to take Vanessa down and dominate her. Dude, I don't think Talita could take anybody down. She couldn't take Stephanie Luciano down. Especially the second time. Dude, what the fuck was that? Was that Rayon dos Santos performance?
Ugh.
Dude, do you remember that fight?
Kind of.
Vanessa Demopoulos would destroy Rayon dos Santos. She would probably knock out Rayon dos Santos, break her jaw again. That fight wouldn't be close. And I don't even know if Talita beat Rayon dos Santos, and that's pathetic. So, yeah, I think this is Vanessa, dude. I mean, even people are saying like Vanessa's old. Well, Vanessa's 36. Talita's 34, right? So there's not much age difference between these two. But Vanessa's got 10 more pro fights, like 2 more hours of professional cage time, 6 more fights at the UFC level, So I think that this is going to be Vanessa. I think that she could potentially knock this girl out. I think that Vanessa is going to probably be able to stop the takedowns of Talita Alencar. And I mean, I don't think it's going to be close when they strike. So, yeah, I think that this is Vanessa.
All right. I mean, I'm picking Alencar, but I was picking her like when she was plus 135. Now that she is a favorite, I like it just a lot less. And like Vanessa probably wins no matter. Like even if she loses a 30-27, Vanessa's probably going to win. So I'm not betting this fight, but it's an interesting one. It's definitely an interesting one. I bet Vanessa's an expert milker. I think he might be onto something.
Could be.
I'm sure Weezy could take down Demopoulos easily. Yeah, I think he could. Weezy has some good judo.
I'm way bigger than her. That's a fact. I'm like twice her weight.
Parlaying the over 1.5. Yeah, let's talk about the total on this one. Set at 2.5. The over 2.5 is minus 425. The under 2.5 is plus 325.
Yeah, I mean, like Vanessa's super durable though. That's the problem.
Yeah, it had to be a sub if Alencar submitted her, but
yeah,
I think it probably goes over. I don't know if I lay minus 350 on it though. Let's see. Being a stripper, it's one of the best bases, and it's shown. She has a good record in the UFC. Even to start round 3 is gonna be minus 800. Yeah, probably. Vanessa's low IQ. She's grabbing my gloves, immediately gets armbarred. That was awesome, only because I had the Amarine by sub prop. But yeah, that was Amarine did cheat there. Amarine did absolutely cheat there. Uncle Weezy will go to war for Vanessa. That's his wallpaper, and I don't blame him.
Greece, stand up. Let's go. She's the only fighter in the UFC that's carrying that proud Greek flag. The Greeks that gave so many gifts to the world. Vanessa Demopoulos just being one of them.
Weezy would definitely pound her on. Okay.
Alencar isn't watching this.
Alencar is going to milk her. I wonder if fighters do watch the show. Outside of Roma Delidze. We know Delidze does. Delidze's a big fan of the show. I wonder if any other fighters potentially watch the show. You never know.
I wonder. That's a good question. I don't know, man.
Some chick watches the show. What's her name? I gotta find out. Oh, Luana Santos, I think, watches the show, dude. She gave me she gave me a follow on Instagram.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think she probably can't understand us, but
I think we were showing videos of her.
Oh yeah, we were
balancing on like one of those.
We were. Maybe that's what did it. But yeah, I got a follow the other week. It was or month, so that was interesting. This is the horniest the chat's ever been. Yeah, it's disgusting. Quite frankly, it's disgusting. But we're just trying to talk fights here. All right, Weez, let's move on to the next fight. It is Victor Henry going against Pedro Falcao. We have Henry 30. Is he 37? Jeez.
Yeah.
37. 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. Falcao, 32 years old, 5'6" with a 66-inch reach. Falcao, 5 years younger. It's going to be Henry with a 1-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage. Henry is 2-1 no contest in his last 5 fights. A decision loss against Rafael Assunção. Decision win against Tony Gravely. No contest against Javid Basharat. A knockout win against Ronnie Yahya. And then a submission loss to Charles Jourdain. As far as Pedro Falcao, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Made his debut against Victor Hugo. Lost that fight by decision. I think he did have a submission win on the Contender Series. So yeah, we got a pure striker versus grappler matchup. Pedro Falcao is like a 3rd-degree black belt, going to be looking to get the fight down to the ground. which is interesting because Victor Henry got submitted in his last fight, and I was pissed, dude. I had Victor Henry plus 3.5 point spread. He goes out there and he looks amazing. He looks really good against Charles Jourdain. Everything's going according to plan, and then he takes him down and gets subbed. I'm like, come on, dude. Come on, Henry. Get some help, dude. But yeah, I mean, if he keeps the fight standing, he's clearly going to be the better striker. But if Falcao can get the fight down to the ground, that's kind of where he's best. So yeah, striker versus grappler matchup. We have a couple old fighters on this card, Weezy. We have Victor Henry. He's 37. We'll talk about Davey Grant. He's 39. We got GM3, Brad Tavares on the card. It's a couple older fighters on the card, and Davey Grant's the first of them. What are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I didn't really know much about Falcao, so I taped him a little bit earlier today. And I mean, this guy's a bona fide crotch sniffer. He's not gonna strike at all. He pressures forward constantly on the feet. He does a really good job of timing the entries on his takedowns, and he will push that pace for the full 15 minutes. So he's a pretty dangerous fighter. And if he gets on top and he traps an arm, his ground and pound is nasty. Great Brazilian jiu-jitsu, great ground and pound. He's going to really push a pace. So he's going to be a difficult opponent for anybody in this weight class just because of the style that he fights with. And Victor is going to be a 1 inch taller, and he's going to have a couple inch reach advantage here. And he's got a lot more experience than Pedro does. And Pedro's a good fighter, though, man. I mean, I think that his style is going to work really well for him up at this level. But Victor's a guy whose grappling game is very much underrated. And I've seen him against Denis Lavrentev a couple of times on the regional scene, have some really difficult time getting up from bottom. But, up at this level against good wrestlers, guys like Yaya and Basharat and Gravely, he did a pretty good job of being able to stay standing. Now, Asen Sao definitely gave him some problems because he was countering everything that Victor was throwing, so he kind of slowed down Victor's offense, and he was able to find some takedowns and get some top time. And if you watch at an Asen Sao fight, man, it's hard not to see Falcao having some success, because he's just not going to play a center of the cage volume striking game with Victor Henry. He just won't. So the question is Victor going to be able to stuff these takedowns? Is he going to be able to land shots in the clinch here? Is he going to be able to find space? And I just don't think Pedro is going to give him a lot of space. This is in the small cage in the apex, and I think that favors Falcao. He's the younger fighter, but the thing is, it's like a year-long layoff for Falcao. So I don't know if anybody in the chat knows why the year-long layoff, because I don't even think he's had a fight scheduled in between the Hugo fight and this fight. So interesting to see. But, I think Pedro's pretty good, man. And I think that this is going to be a very frustrating fight for Victor because I don't think he's going to be able to get a lot of space here. And I don't think he's going to really be able to make use of the volume and the pace that he usually fights with.
Yeah, this is a fight I think I'm just going to stay away from. The thing about Victor Henry is he's just so inconsistent. Like sometimes he'll show up and look incredible. Remember that Hayani Barcelos fight, right? He shows up in his debut against Hayani Barcelos and looks amazing. The fight's not even competitive, just makes Barcelos look silly. And then he loses to Rafael Assunção? 40-year-old Rafael Assunção? What sense does that make, Victor Henry? What sense does that make? Looks good against Gravely, looks good against Yaya, gets subbed by Jourdain. So I don't know. And like you said, he's getting up there in age, almost 30. I didn't know he was that old. I thought he was up there, but he's really almost 38. Yeah,
he doesn't have the hair of a 38-year-old. He's got a beautiful head of hair on him,
Maybe that's why. Yeah.
You wouldn't think that he's that old, but I mean, he's got 32 fights, Brady. This guy, Victor Henry, has spent almost 6 hours of his life in a cage in his underwear fighting killers.
Yeah, he's getting up there. So let's see. Henry opened up minus 155-ish, currently minus 205. And Falcao is currently sitting at plus 175. So some money came in on Henry. Whenever I taped this fight, he was around like minus 155. and he's now minus 205. The over-under set at 2.5 rounds. The over 2.5 minus 260. The under 2.5 is plus 200.
Man, I think this fight's going over for sure, dude.
Unless Henry gets caught in something, I would agree. Yep.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to get caught in anything. That was a not an arm in guillotine. It was a power guillotine. And I think what happened is that Victor was kind of getting touched up there, and he had to shoot in on a takedown, and he got caught up in that guillotine there. I don't think Victor's not going to be shooting against Pedro. No. It's going to be the other way around. And Victor's got a really good ground game, dude. You look at some of the grapplers that he's been in there against, and he's not getting submitted by these guys. This guy fought like 6 rounds against Lavrentev on the regional scene. He had 2 fights against him. Kyler Phillips. You just look at the names. He's been in there against literally everybody. So I think that last submission loss, bit of a fluke, and Jordan has a crazy guillotine anyway. So, yeah, I think this one's going to go to decision.
Yeah, but I do need to take some accountability, and I did bet that Victor Henry plus 3.5. And so I can't call it a fluke because I got to take accountability here. So
I think I might have had a Henry finish only prop just because he never gets finished.
Maybe I had that. I either had the plus 3.5 or the finish. I think it was the plus 3.5 though. But yeah, the finish only made sense too. But yeah, that was just wild. Let's see here. Roses got the nod on the milking. That was a bit of a back and forth milking.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a great one. I'm hoping this week we can actually get some actual milk. Milk just on the canvas. Maybe 2% milk.
Oh, there's milkings this week, my friend. Pipings, milkings, ass shavings, shellackings. It's all on the table this week. We're gonna have some fun in Vegas.
Yeah, Brady thinking back at his lost bets is my favorite part of the show. Yeah, because they some of these scar you, dude. Like I remember parlaying Lupi Godinez versus Angela Hill. I remember betting who's that vampire? Oh, Sergey Spivak versus Cyril Gahn. I remember betting Marcin Tybura versus Sergey Spivak. Remember that when Tybura got armbarred?
I didn't bet him there, but I just remember being because you know what? I think I might have. I think we both bet him because Spivak was like a big favorite, and we were like, why? He got rinsed last time, and nothing much has changed. And then armbar from guard in a heavyweight fight. Could you remember? So Tabura's in his guard, and I think Felder's announcing, and he goes, "It looks like Sergey's trying to set up an armbar." And I don't know if it was Bisping, and he goes, "Yeah, you're not going to see that in the heavyweight division."
Yeah, that fight took a part of my soul, to be honest. Ever since that fight, I haven't been the same. I've been in a dark place since that fight. Very dark place. Since Tybura got armbarred from guard. You gotta laugh, man. I mean, you gotta laugh at it sometimes. Yeah. Let's see. Some of these comments, guys, I can't pull up some of these comments. Ryan suck. I can't pull up that comment. I just can't pull that up. I can't. You see it? I can't pull that up.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I saw that one earlier. Yeah.
I want to pull up your guys. I'm surprised YouTube didn't filter that out, quite frankly, Ryan. Usually YouTube will kind of filter out some of the comments for good reason a lot of times, but it looks like YouTube actually let that one come through. So I'm not going to put that on screen, but let's I'm gonna not do that. Any Dick Sauls potentially?
Yeah,
potentially.
I think that we could see a few.
David Martinez, KO23 traumatized me this week. Right there with you. Right there with you. I can pull this one up. Just know I know you do. I could tell by your comment, dude. You're a big fan of Uncle Weezy. Oh my gosh. Ryan suck. Okay. Let's move on to the next fight, Weezy. It is none other than Rhys McKee going against Daniel Frunza. We got Rhys McKee, 29 years old, 6'2" with a 78-inch reach. Daniel Frunza, 30 years old, 6'1" with a 73-inch reach. We got Rhys McKee, 1 year younger, 1 inch height advantage and a 5-inch reach advantage. Rhys McKee is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He had a short stint in the UFC, got his ass shaved in all the fights, won some fights outside the UFC, came back, and then continued losing here. Lost to Lusa, and then lost to Chidi Nzechukwu. As far as Daniel Frunza, 5-0 in his last 5 fights, had a second-round knockout win on the Contender Series. So this fight's a weird one for me. This is one of the closer line fights in the card, I think. Yeah, so kind of close. It's Frunza minus 155, McKee plus 135. I kind of think that McKee will kind of maybe be a popular dog here, and I can kind of see why, but at the same time, I went and watched this dude's fights, and this dude is he's like Jose Medina dude with the striking defense, if not worse. This guy has some of the worst striking defense I've ever seen. He's super tough. He has been knocked out a couple times, but super tough nonetheless. But the dude just eats punches with his face, dude. I kind of like what he does offensively. He's very long, very rangy. I like the volume. I like the cardio. A lot of tools on the feet. But, geez, this dude gets hit and hit hard and hit clean. Daniel Frunza, I'm still not sure, what to think about this guy. The wins, they're impressive, but not against the best competition. Was able to kind of break his opponent in his last fight, and that's kind of what he does, breaks opponents. I remember watching one of his fights. The fight was, somewhat competitive until the end, and there was like 10 seconds left. He starts going wild, charging after his opponent, gets a knockout with like 1 second left. So this guy's got some dog in him. He'll come forward, he'll land shots. But skill-wise, I'm not sure if he's potentially UFC level, but I'm not sure if Rhys McKee is either. Isn't McKee like 0-4 in the UFC, something like that?
Yeah, 0-4 so far, yeah.
I'm staying away from this one. Another fight where I think it's going to be fun to watch, but in terms of putting money on either of these guys, I just really don't want to do it. If you're betting on Frunza, you're betting on a guy that's just, quite frankly, just really unproven. And if you're betting on Rhys McKee, you're betting on a punching bag to win a fight. So this is a big giant pass for me. I even thought about maybe a total, but Frunza seems durable and McKee seems durable, but he also gets hit a lot in the face. So it's a big pass. Weezy, you have any thoughts on this fight here?
Yeah, I mean, I went and I taped Frunza because I wasn't familiar with him. And I mean, he's a lot of pressure, a big right hand and a big right kick, and not much else, man. He's not going to wrestle offensively. He can be taken down. He can be held down. But, he did go 3 rounds with Harris Talunzik in LFA. And Harris is a wrestler and a good one at that. And he's not like some 37-year-old bum. Harris is a prospect, 27 years old, got takedown in the second round, was working to try to wrestle in the third round, but wasn't really able to get Frunza down. And then, dude, that when he knocked out Talunzik, it was exactly like when Manuel Torrez knocked out Moda. It was that step-in elbow right in the face, right on the chin. It was perfect, and it just melted him. And that's the kind of power that Frunza has. His right hand is serious business, and he walks forward and he makes you fight him. He's kind of big for the division. He's strong, and he's got real power. But there's really no nuance to his game. I can tell you what he's going to do on Saturday. He's going to walk forward. He's going to throw a right hand, and he's going to throw a right kick, and he's going to look to knock out Rhys McKee. But McKee's kind of going to be doing the same thing. And yeah, McKee's a punching bag, but it's because of the style that he fights with. He's just going to be in your face. He never fucks off. He never stops throwing volume, and he's going to just eat what you throw in his face, and he's just going to keep on you and hope to break you late in a fight. And he's done it a lot of times, man. Rhys McKee has 13 professional wins, and they're all finishes, Brady. And he's not the worst minute winner either. He's 0-4 to the decision, but he's always doing something. He's always bringing offense, even in the Chidi fight. And Chidi was way fucking bigger than him. But even in the Chidi fight, he was pushing Chidi up against the cage there the whole damn fight because he was trying to be the one that controlled the offensive pace of the fight. So I don't know what to think of this one, man, because obviously Frunza is probably going to be the one doing more damage. He just hits way harder than Rhys McKee does, and he's got a couple of weapons in his right hand and his right leg that they're just going to land over and over again because Rhys McKee has no defense, and he's just going to be there to be hit. The question is he going to be able to hold up? Because Frunza might slow down a little bit later on in the fight, but guess what, man? The guy went 3 rounds with Talunzik while Talunzik was trying to wrestle him in the second and third rounds. I think Frunza can maybe go 3 rounds with Rhys and not be broken. So I think these guys are pretty well matched, actually. A lot of people say that McKee's shit. I just don't think that, man. I think Rhys McKee's a different stylistic opponent than you're normally going to see at this level, and he presents a lot of problems with the way that he fights. But I just don't know if that style is going to work against Frunza, because I don't think Frunza is going to get that tired. And he has kind of like a low output style where he manages his energy pretty well. So I don't know, man. I think Frunza is probably going to do more damage in this fight, but McKee's, got a little bit better of a strength of schedule, a little bit more experience as a pro, 4 more fights at the UFC level. So this is going to be a fun fight, dude.
It'll be fun. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a fun back and forth type war. But in terms of putting money on it, I don't really want to do that. And I agree. I think McKee's decent, man. I think he's the best 0-4 fighter in the UFC. Up
It's
there,
not
right?
Dione Belbita. No, I'm kidding. It's not Istela Nunes. You think?
Between him and Daniel Lacerda da Silva.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Frunza minus 155, McKee plus 135. So money has came in on McKee, which makes sense. I think this fight could look competitive. And then the total is just the total stuff as well. Like the over 2.5 minus 135, the under 2.5 is plus 105. I think it might be one of those where it's like if you bet violence, you're going to be like, how did that not hit? How did this under not cash? Like Rhys McKee ate 150 significant strikes straight to the face. How didn't he go down? Well, I don't get it. So I think it probably goes over. So I'm not touching this one.
I tend to think over as well, but that just reminds me to say my condolences to everybody that bet Kevin Borjas by KO last night, because that had to be absolute torture watching that. I thought about making that bet, and I said about 8 times out loud, how the hell is this guy even still standing? Borjas was destroying him. But, that's, I could see McKee holding up like that, dude.
Yeah. The dude, McKee's tough, and he has some heart, too. He has a lot of heart. I mean, that Sheedy fight, he was getting the brakes beat off him in that second round. Survived and then came back late in the third. So, yeah, he has some heart there. That Borjas K was like plus 500 something, too.
Yeah, it was. And I mean, he was just absolutely teeing off on poor Lazy Boy. And that dude just ate it every time like a chimichanga.
Yeah. Is this a Frunza setup? I don't know. I don't know if they're really trying to set up Daniel Frunza. I don't know if he really is going to be something. I don't know. In the face. What's his distance striking defense, McKee?
48.6%.
Is that some of the worst you've ever seen?
Which is 11% below the divisional average. No, I think there was somebody last week with 42%, and I'm not even joking.
Oh.
Yeah, we see it every once in a while. Oh God, who was the guy who had? Oh, you remember Nicholas Negamarianu? That dude with the head like the Easter Island statue. His head was actually wider than his shoulders. Like if he even leaned over a little bit, he would just fall down because his head was so big. That guy had like a 38% striking defense.
Oh my gosh, which makes sense. I mean, you can't miss him.
Oh yeah, dude, he would burn like 3,000 calories just turning his head to the right because it was so big. I mean, like he couldn't move his head off the center line if he tried.
Dude, we got to get. I think they cut him. I think they cut Negamarianu. Sadly, dang.
Yeah, well, he hasn't fought in years. I don't know what happened to him. Like, I think he might be injured or something like that because he hasn't fought in over 2 years anywhere. I don't know if they cut him or if he's just been on a long-term injury.
Kevin Borjas, yeah. If you don't push a pace and you don't wrestle him, he's a really good striker. Absolutely.
Yeah.
McKee, Yeah, I thought it was going to be closer to 0. So him even having 48% really surprises me. But yeah, it's apparently it's 48%, and it's not 0. But I thought it would have been closer to 0. But I was wrong. All right, let's move on to the next fight. It is Dione Belbita going against Dione de Barbosa. We got Belbita, 28 years old, 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. Barbosa, 32 years old, 5'6" with a 66-inch reach. We got Belbita, 4 years younger, 1-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage. Belbita is 2-3 in her last 5 fights. A decision win against Hannah Goldie, a decision loss against Gloria DePaula, a decision win against Maria Oliveira, a decision loss to Karolina Kovacevic, and then a submission loss to Molly McCann. As far as Barbosa, 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Made her debut against Ernesta Carrascate, won that fight by decision. Prior to that, she had a first-round submission win on the Contender Series against Ryan Guerrero, and then had a decision loss against Miranda Maverick in her last fight out. So, yeah, we have Barbosa as another big favorite. I think she's the second biggest favorite on the card, right behind Loma Lookboonmee. So 2 WMMA fighters, 2 of the biggest favorites on the card. What could go wrong? But yeah, I like Belbita's chances in this one here. I think it's I think this matchup couldn't be any more brutal for Dione Belbita. Like I kind of like some things in Belbita's game. Like I like the cardio, I like the striking, the volume, but there's one big gaping hole. And when I say it's big and gaping, it's the biggest, most gaping hole you'd ever laid eyes on. And it's the ground game, dude. It's the ground game. I mean, we're talking Elise Reed level grappling, if not worse than Elise Reed level grappling. I mean, getting submitted by Molly McCann. They're getting submitted. Dude, getting submitted by Molly McCann, getting submitted by Luana Jojua. I think she has 5 or 6 submission losses, and then they're giving her to a judo black belt, a BJJ black belt, and Dione Barbosa. I think it'll only take one takedown, and it's probably a wrap there. I mean, Belbita's path here is keeping on the feet. And if she does that, yeah, I mean, she can probably land more volume. You know, I do like the striking, but if this fight hits the ground, it's like, ground is lava type situation. So I think it's Barbosa, and I think Barbosa gets it done there. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I mean, it's when you're coming off being submitted by Molly McCann. I mean, like that's almost like the same thing as shitting your pants in the octagon. You know, I mean, like you're not coming back from that. Like you do that at school, you got to now switch schools. You know what I'm saying? It's like you just got to hope that whatever school you go to now, they didn't hear that you shit your pants in the last school. And that's kind of like where Belbita is right now, you know? She got those long, skinny ass, narrow arms of hers. You know, they're long as dude. I remember when I was a kid and I was doing judo, like give me somebody 4 inches taller than me that's skinny as shit, and I'm just gonna be like, yes, I'm winning this match. They're noodles, you know. You can inside trip them easily. You can anytime they push against you, you could throw them. Their ankles are so narrow, you can foot sweep the shit out of them, you know. And that's just Dione. Like, if you told Dione Barbosa, hey, draw the body type of your ideal opponent, she would just take a picture of Dione Belbita from the internet and go here. You know, like this. Give me this noodle of a girl with no strength that's too tall and too long, and it's going to be easy to trip, takedown, or easy to a foot sweep, or even easy to throw. So I think that Dione being a judo player, this is just going to be absolutely horrible for Dione because Barbosa's judo is very good, but her submission game is excellent as well. So, I mean, I really think that this is going to be an early takedown, and she's going to be working for submissions, looking to finish this fight. And I mean, it's not just me, Brady. The under 2.5 was sitting at minus or plus 160 earlier today, and it's already minus 115,
minus 135.
Oh my God. Because when I said we saw it at like plus 140, and I was like, dude, her sub prop is probably not even going to be plus 100. Why is the under 2.5 at plus money? So, yeah, I mean, this is going to be Dione Barbosa by sub in round 1, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning that way as well. Sorry about that, guys. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. I mean, come on, it's funny. She got submitted by Molly McCann. Molly McCann just retired. Nobody else thought that was fun. Just me. Okay, it was just me. Nobody else. Okay, whatever. Oh, let's see. Don't tell anyone, Paul. You just told 500 people. But Belbita is saying this might be her last fight, and she doesn't really care if she wins. Big red flag. Yeah, I did see something about that on Twitter. Apparently, she had an interview, and I forget what somebody was saying, but it wasn't good. The thing she said wasn't good. But yeah, if she's saying she doesn't care if she wins, it's not good to say. That's something Kevin Holland would say. Kevin Holland doesn't care if he wins, and he's lost a ton of fights. Not only submitted by Molly, but she was like, "There's 5 seconds left. Let me try for an armbar," and still had time to spare. She got it quick, dude. She tapped quick. She made Molly McCann look like Verna Jandaroba out there. It was wild.
Yeah,
it was wild. I'm sorry, Dylan. I'm sorry. She was like, "Who are you talking to?" Did you have a stroke? No. Did he say goo goo gaga? Did I say? I didn't say that.
You said that at one point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out Betch. Yeah, shout out Betch Correa. Let's shout her out.
Betch Correa, stand up. Brazil, stand up.
The under is getting milked. The under is getting piped. Yeah. It's not a milking would be like a slow line movement, like plus 135, plus 130, plus 125. A piping is plus 165. Oh, it's plus 140. Oh, now it's minus 135. The lines, I mean, it's getting piped. Come on. I mean, come on. Yeah, I agree. Come on. I agree. Come on. I agree. Come on. All right. And pipe up that like button, people. Brady's. I'm not losing it. Am I losing it? Maybe I lost it for like 5 seconds, but I'm back.
Dude, if anybody's losing it, it's Deanna Belbita for getting submitted by Molly McCann.
Oh, don't even get me started. Don't get me started. What's worse, getting submitted by Molly McCann or Luana Jojua?
I think McCann.
Yeah,
I think it's McCann, dude.
They're both not good looks. Both not good looks. All right. Let's move on, guys. Come on, Nate Maness. Yeah, I think that was the last time I did officially have a stroke on stream was when Nate Maness took Jimmy Flick. Can you believe that? Nate Maness took Jimmy Flick 15 minutes.
Oh God, I remember I had like something like 4.3 units on that under 1.5 rounds at like minus 215, and I was just losing my goddamn mind. The closest anyone came to finishing that fight was Jimmy Flick with a shoulder choke in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, it was bad, and it broke me live on stream, and I'm pretty sure Nate Maness saw it too, because he tweeted something. He tweeted something about it. He's like people say this. I think he was talking about me, but I think me and Nate are cool now. Potentially, he did like one of my tweets. So I think we're cool now. But yeah, I think Nate Maness might be a fan of the show as well.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, like, he'll be back. He's a good fucking fighter, but I think Dana was pissed off at him about that. I think Dana might have had money on the under, and that's probably why he got cut.
Could be, dude. I think did Nate Maness go to like bare knuckle boxing or something?
Yeah.
Something
yeah, he's got to get a paycheck somehow, man. Like, you can't just cut somebody and think that they're just going to retire. You know, they got to make money. So
I'm traumatized from betting Belbita huge against Jodua. I remember being like very heavy on Belbita on DraftKings, And then she takes down Joju and gets armbarred like shortly after. Yeah, I'm kind of traumatized from that as well. That
Dude,
was
I even remember that fight, and Belbita took her down, and whoever was calling the fight was like, what is she doing? You know, like literally, they're like, dude, you know, because like they were talking up to that point, like Joju needs this fight on the ground. You know, she's outmatched on the feet, and Belbita takes her down and is just in the guard, and it's like, what?
Oh, God. Imagine Belbita takes down Barbosa. Oh.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, like the scenes, like
Oh,
Barbosa would be laughing.
Yeah. Terrible. Terrible. All right, let's move on to the next fight. It is Davey, Dangerous Grant, going against Daniel Santos. We got Dangerous Davey Grant, 39 years old, 5'8" with a 69-inch reach. Daniel Santos, 30 years old, 5'7" with a 67-inch reach. Santos, 9 years younger. Grant with a 1-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage. Davey Grant is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Decision loss against Adrian Yanez. A knockout win against Luis Smolka. Submission win against Rafael Assunção. Decision loss against Daniel Marcos. And then a decision win against Ramon Tavares. As far as Daniel Santos, he is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Made his debut against Julio Arce. Lost that fight by decision. Knocked out John Castaneda in the second round. And then beat Johnny Munoz Jr. by decision. So Daniel Santos has coming off of a pretty big layoff, Weezy. How 1 year, 1 year and 9-month layoff from Daniel Santos. Daniel Santos, where have you been? Where have you been? I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure where he's been, but yeah, I guess he's coming back almost 2 years later. This interesting fight. We have about a 40-year-old bantamweight here in Davey Grant. The crazy thing about Davey Grant is this guy is kind of like aging like fine wine. Like we're seeing the best version of Davey Grant once he turned like 36, 37, 38, and even 39. Like against Ramon Tavares, Grant looked really good in that fight, was able to put up like 150 significant strikes, eat all the shots coming his way, just outworked Tavares. I mean, he arguably won the Daniel Marcos fight, and how good of a win would have that been? He arguably won the Adrian Yanez fight. So I think Davey Grant's still performing at a pretty high level. This fight's going to be exciting, man. Both these guys have exciting styles. Daniel Santos, kind of a wild man. Davey Grant has a ton of tools on the feet, a ton of power. I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Daniel Santos looks after so long of a layoff. I'm just not sure what happened. Was it an injury? What's been going on with him? But that's a long layoff. So, Weezy, any thoughts on this fight? And did you hear anything about why he's injured or why he's had a layoff? Was he injured, or do you not know?
So Santos fought Johnny Munoz on June 3rd, 2023. He had a fight scheduled with Daniel Marcos November 4th, 2023, and Santos pulled out of that fight like about 5 months after the Munoz fight, which he won. So then he doesn't have a fight until October of next year. So he's on almost a 1-year layoff. Going into the Said Nurmagomedov fight, he has to pull out of that fight as well. So he pulled out of a fight in November of 2023. He pulled out of a fight in October of 2024. And now here we're seeing him in April of 2025. So probably 2 separate injuries, Brady.
Oh, yeah.
So we don't know. Maybe somebody in the chat knows what the injuries were, but he had to pull out of 2 separate fights. And I don't know if it was injuries, weight cut, sickness. It could have been a number of different things. Could have even been visa issues for all we know. But this has got fight of the night written all over it, Brady. I mean, Davey Grant has never shied away from an exchange in his life. And Daniel Santos, I don't think I've ever seen the dude take a backward step in the cage. Do you remember that Arce fight? He was walking down Arce the entire fight, getting picked apart for the full 15 minutes. Arce was just absolutely tagging him up. And like, dude, he never stopped coming forward the entire fight, never stopped pushing that pace. I don't think this guy's ever going to be in a boring fight. So yeah, Willie Catch going up against, Davey Grant, who's what, is he 30? Yeah, 39 years old. And I mean, that Daniel Marcos is fucking good, dude.
Oh, he's so good.
Dude, he's such a good striker. And the fact that Grant could hang with that dude on the feet at 38 years of age is incredibly impressive, in my opinion. And, this is going to be a different kind of challenge, too, because while Marcos and Tavares, his last two opponents, are really, really sharp strikers, got really good hands, both of them. And Marcos has got phenomenal kicks. Santos isn't really that technical, but it's just it's the nonstop pressure, dude. He attempts 16.1 distance strikes per minute. Look at that accuracy for Santos at 29%. That's because of the Arce fight. And it just goes to show you, when he fights somebody that's extremely technical, he's going to have problems because he just walks forward winging bombs. And somebody like Arce that has such amazing footwork and counter striking is going to be able to pick him apart. But see, the thing is, Davey Grant's not going to move laterally. This is going to be a fucking car crash. These guys are going to beat the shit out of each other. And neither one of these guys has ever been knocked out as a professional. So, I just cannot wait for this fight. But as far as who wins it, I don't know. Probably, maybe Grant. But, Santos is 9 years younger than him. Santos is going to bring a ton of pressure, and Santos needs this win big time. This guy hasn't been able to provide for his family for a minute. He's been away from the cage for almost 2 years. So this is going to be probably the best fight on the card. And this one is going to be bloody. They're going to beat the piss out of each other. And it's going to be one of the best fights of the night, if not the fight of the night.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't see how this fight's boring whatsoever. Daniel Santos opened up, looks like minus 350, currently minus 170. Davey Grant opened up plus 285, currently plus 145. So money has came in on Davey Grant. And yeah, I think this is a close fight. I think there's a lot of things to like about both fighters. I think it's going to be a back and forth war. Both guys very durable. It's probably one of those wars that goes to decision, right? Probably going to swing dicks for 15 minutes. The over under set at 2.5. The over 2.5 is minus 205. The under 2.5 is plus 165. Although I think the over hits, it would be a very sweaty over at minus 205 there. So, yep.
Dude, that's a punishment.
Yeah.
Betting the over in this fight is a punishment because you might win, but at what cost? These guys are gonna beat the hell out of each other. I would much rather play the under here. I could easily see one of these guys getting knocked out simply because neither one of them is going to avoid the fight for even a second.
I could definitely see him getting dropped. Daniel Santos got dropped how many times in that John Castaneda fight? I went back and watched that today. John Castaneda hurt him 3 or 4 different times in that first round. It was crazy. And then John Castaneda got broken and finished in the second. That fight was awesome.
Yeah, but Grant's been dropped a few times as well, man.
Yeah,
I've seen him get dropped.
Yep.
They're both really tough, but I have a feeling somebody's going to get dropped and swarmed on, and then maybe the referee might step in. There's no way I'd bet an over here, dude. It might cash, but come on, minus 205. You got to lay that kind of juice for a car crash fight like this? No chance, dude. And dude, Davey Grant can submit anybody. He'll never shoot a takedown, but if you go to the ground with that dude, his submission grappling is phenomenal. Very underrated. This is a great fight. Yeah,
it is. It certainly is. That is a lot to lay on the over, unless Herzog's reffing. And there is a good chance he's going to be reffing, man. we are back in the Apex, so good chance we have Herzog reffing at least 3 of these fights.
Yeah, that's probably true, man. He wasn't there last night. They had Goddard was there, and a couple of these Mexican refs were there as well. So I don't think Herzog was there last night.
Nope, he was not there. This fight has been absolutely bricked up, and rightfully so. So.
It's a great fight.
This fight or the last one, definitely. He's talking about this fight.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely this fight. Arce has 0 power, though. Grant's kicks looked as good as ever a few months ago against Tavares. Yeah, Grant has it. Really good kicks, and he throws them a ton as well. So the volume's pretty good. Santos was pulled from UFC 308 due to an adverse reaction to a toxic hair dye.
And he even named the event. Well, I gotta look, dude.
Wait.
There's no way. There's no way. Almeida versus Lewis, was that 308? Was that... Wait, no, that was a fight night. Okay, so that wasn't UFC. Said Nurmagomedov was UFC 308. Bout canceled prior to event. Santos withdraw. If is that Sun Tzu? Is that Sun Tzu fucking with us?
I don't know, dude. But I don't. That'd be crazy. Like if Andre if that hasn't happened to Petrosky yet, you would think it happened to him. I mean, Petrosky, that dude has so much hair dye.
So much. It hasn't happened to Melky Costa, who's had some pretty crazy haircuts, coming in. Yeah, if it hasn't happened to him, I don't know why it would happen to Santos. But these, he's isn't he one of these shoots box? Yeah, he's a shoots box Diego Lima guy. He fights like one. He
moved somewhere else. He's training somewhere else nowadays, though.
Santos is?
Yeah, I forget which gym it was. I forget what I saw, but we got Riff Raff with the 1999. Appreciate you, Riff Raff. Just joined in. Brady and Weezy doing work for the masses. Keep up the good teat work. Did he do that on purpose because of the milkings we do?
Yes. It's because of the milking. I mean, people, the milking of the week is really resonating with our fans, Brady.
It's undefeated. The milking hasn't lost.
People like winning, and we're trying to deal out winners and milkings and pipings and ass shavings and dick saws and all the rest of it. We're bringing it to you here Sunday night every week for free on YouTube. You're welcome. Thank you, Riff Raff, for supporting the show.
Never late.
Appreciate you.
Never late as well. Never late.
Never.
He says, I hit the like and drop some donos for these guys. Appreciate you, Riff Raff. Appreciate that. And then Will dropping the milk. There you go. Tavares was 12 years younger. How old was Tavares? Like 27?
Yeah, he was a lot younger than I mean, like Davey's always fighting somebody older than him,
Oh yeah, he's gonna have to at bantamweight. Over 5 knockdowns and cruises over. That's kind of obviously it. I could see like 3 knockdowns each. Jason Herzog not stopping the fight. Yeah, I could see that. Davey always underrated, man. I used to think Davey was a bum, dude. Like I used to think Davey Grant was a bum back in the day. Getting submitted by Damian Stasiak, Manny Bermudez. Who else submitted him? Chris Holdsworth submitted him. I used to think he was a bum. And then ever since that Martin Day fight, he kind of turned the corner and looked great. So, restaurant tour. Yeah. Is he the guy that owns a restaurant, Davey Grant?
Yeah, he does. Very, very successful from what I've heard.
Heck yeah.
He's got a little Greek in him, man. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Dude, all the Greeks own restaurants. So, he's probably got a Greek business partner or something, I mean, it's so, I mean, I love that about Davey, us Greeks, it's all we know how to do is gamble, smoke cigarettes, and run restaurants.
There you go.
We're good at it.
There you go. Heck yeah. See, I'm sure it's great food, Davey. So yeah, Grant plus 145. Brady, admit you knew Jober was going to get finished. I knew it absolutely could happen. I mean, Manuel Torres, the dude's a killer. That's why I thought the under was a great spot. But yeah, I thought Dober was gonna win. But yeah, I was definitely wrong there. All right. on today's menu, knuckle sandwich. I bet he has some of those knuckle sandwiches. I love it. All right. Let's move on to the next fight. It is Ode Osbourne going against Luis Gurule. We got Osbourne, 33 years old, 5'7" with a 73-inch reach. Gurule, 31 years old, 5'5" with a 64-inch reach. Gurule, 2 years younger. Osbourne with a 2-inch height advantage and a 9-inch reach advantage. Ode Osbourne is 1-4 in his last 5 fights. A knockout loss to Tyson Nam. A decision win against Charles Johnson, Uncle Weezy's favorite fighter. A submission loss to Asa Umabayev. Submission loss to Jafel Filio. Decision loss to Ronaldo Lazy Boy Rodriguez. As far as Gurule, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Had a Contender Series win. Very close fight against Nick Piccinini where Piccinini kind of tried to hump his leg for 15 minutes. And the judges scored it, damage over control type situation. So, I don't know. Ode Osbourne, I'll never forget Ode Osbourne. I believe it was his debut against Brian Kelleher, and they did like an Ode Osbourne promo right before the fight. And he said, and it was the card that Conor McGregor was fighting on, right? It was McGregor versus Cowboy. And Ode was like, years from now, they're going to remember that Conor McGregor was on my card. Conor McGregor was on my card. And then he goes out there and proceeds to get submitted by Brian Kelleher in the very first round. And since then, it's kind of been not the best run. I mean, beating CG Vergara, beating Jerome Rivera, Zaruk Adashev, Charles Johnson, not the best wins. And then, the other fights that he's losing, and quite frankly, they're just not that competitive. I'm getting smoked by Manel Kopp. No shame in that. Smoked by Tyson Dam. Smoked by Asu Amabayev. No shame in that. Smoked by Jafel Filio. And yeah, the Lazy Boy fight was close. Borderline did finish Lazy Boy, but the ref didn't stop it. Got him in that triangle. Lazy Boy survived somehow and then kind of, gassed out. And that's kind of the thing with Ode. When Ode is winning fights, more often than not, it's in the first round. I really worry about the cardio of Ode Osbourne. This guy's a ton of first-round finishes, slows down as the fight goes on. I kind of thought this guy could maybe be something in the UFC, but I don't know. As far as Gurule, quite frankly, I'm just not that impressed. He's kind of a meat and potatoes guy. I believe he trains at Factory X. The striking is good. The cardio is really good. I think that's important here. The pressure is really good. I think that's important. And then, the takedown defense, the ground game, the ability to get back up if he gets taken down, it's all good. The durability looks fine. I did see him get dropped before, but he's definitely the more durable fighter in this fight. So, it's hard for me to, pick Ode Osbourne here in a fight that I think, does get extended. And I think I just trust the durability, the cardio, the striking more of Gurule. I think Ode Osbourne could be dangerous early, but if he doesn't put this guy away, he's probably going to slow down, and I think Gurule's going to take over late. But yeah, I don't know if I would be laying minus 225 on a Contender Series guy who barely won on the Contender Series. But I think as far as a pick, I'm going to slightly lean and pick Gurule by decision. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, so Gurule was a guy that I remember his Contender Series fight against Piccinini, and I was like, okay, but that's all I saw. So I went and I watched the finish of the Jacob Silva fight, which was a nice little, he kind of rolled into an arm triangle. It was a really nice and opportunistic submission finish on Jacob Silva, but Jacob Silva's a punching bag, with an 11-10 record, and it took him till the fourth round to win that fight against Jacob. And then the fight before that, Brady, did you watch the Alberto Trujillo fight?
Was that the fight he got dropped in?
I don't remember him getting dropped, but I just remember it was really close. And I remember being like, wow, Trujillo was just like another Luis Gurule, like he's kind of good at everything, but not spectacular anywhere. Like you called Gurule a meat and potatoes fighter. I kind of feel like the same way, but I mean, Ode Osbourne's way more talented than this guy. I mean, like even Gurule looks kind of small for the division. Ode is going to be 2 inches taller. He's going to have a 9-inch reach advantage. He's a southpaw. He's been training at Syndicate for years, 11 more pro fights, 10 more fights at the UFC level. I bet on Ode Osbourne against Lazy Boy at like plus 140. And I kind of chalked that up as a pretty good bet, even though I lost it, because like he almost finished Rodriguez in the first. And let's face it, if that's any other fighter, maybe he does get a finish, because we just learned how ridiculously difficult to finish this guy is. So, where is Gurule better than Osbourne? Maybe conditioning?
Yeah, I'll tell you where. Conditioning, durability, and heart. That's
okay.
it.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair, but eventually he's going to have to hurt him, right?
Potentially.
I mean, like, think about it. How does he make Ode Osbourne quit? I mean, if you can't get Jacob the Animal Silva out of there in 3 rounds, if you're going life and death with Alberto Trujillo, I mean, like, are you really going to go out there and dick saw, Ode Osbourne? I mean, they're making him a minus 200 favorite here, Brady. Yeah. This is his first UFC fight. So it's just not good enough to be grittier than your opponent, and you're going to slap a minus 200 price tag on somebody. That doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, is Gurule the better striker here? No. You know, does he have more experience? No. Has he fought the better brand of competition? No. Dude, this guy wasn't even a Fury FC champion. Somebody else is the 125-pound champion of Fury FC, not Luis Gurule. So the kid's got a lot to prove here. A lot to prove. You know, this guy might be like this kid could be like another CJ Vergara as far as I'm concerned.
Oh,
I mean,
no, I'm with you, dude. I'm not impressed with this guy at all. I wanted to bet Ode, but the durability and cardio it scares me.
Yeah, I don't agree with Gurule being this big of a favorite, but at the same time, like I'm not seeing any weak spots in his game. I don't think he's a bad fighter at all. It's just that this is the UFC. You kind of need to be really good at something in order to find that place where you're better than your opponent. And up at this level, just being gritty and throwing a lot of volume with not having a lot of power, not having a lot of an opportunistic submission grappling game necessarily. I mean, that arm triangle he got against Silva was nice, but it was round 4, So, I think that this is. There's no way I would lay minus 200 on Gurule here.
No, I would not either. So Gurule opened up. Looks like minus 350. Minus 350.
What?
Yeah, he's currently minus 225.
Piccinini's a pure fucking wrestler. He's got no striking.
Oh, God.
So I don't understand this. What? I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to bet Ode again and lose more money on this fucking clown.
No, I seriously, I thought about Ode, dude. And if the line keeps getting wider, I might be right there. But yeah, the car. If Ode had 3-round cardio, that'd be nice. But to his credit though, in a lot of these fights where he is slowing down, he is getting grappled, and Gurule will not be shooting takedowns here. I don't think so. Yeah, maybe the cardio holds up a little bit better in a striking fight.
Yeah, and he's definitely got the power advantage. And, obviously this is a 9-inch reach advantage for him here. And he's a southpaw, so he might be able to just kind of maintain range with his kicks.
Yeah, and 9 inches is a lot.
Yeah,
Yep. So yeah, it's interesting. Just kind of want to see where this line goes. You can't lay minus 225 on somebody making their debut off the contenders here. You just can't. You just can't do it. You can't do it. Like even Daniel Frunza. I don't want to lay minus 155 on Daniel Frunza, even if he is fighting a walking punching bag.
Dude, I agree with that too, man. Like, I mean, I think Frunza is actually pretty good, because he does have UFC level power.
Yeah.
Like I could tell the way the dude, when he knocked out Talunzik, that was a vicious finish. And I mean, like he finished, I think he's finished actually his last 3 wins. So Frunza's, or maybe even more than that, actually, at this point. He's knocking people out. I mean, what's Gurule doing? Unanimous decision against Jonathan Davis. Do you know who Jonathan Davis is?
Oh,
have you ever heard of him? I'm being serious. I've never heard of the guy. No. I didn't watch that fight. I don't know who Gerardo Granil is.
No.
You ever heard of him? You ever hear of Trujillo? I mean, Trujillo might have beaten Gurule. That was the fight I watched, and I watched the submission finish of Silva, and I remember the Piccinini fight because Nick is an an Oklahoma State wrestler, which is where Daniel Cormier went. So of course Cormier knows this kid, and I think he was announcing the fight too.
Yeah, I'm not even convinced Gurule beat Piccinini, to be honest. I mean, you got that whole damage over control type argument, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think Piccinini wasn't doing any damage. He was trying to hold on for dear life, and Gurule was the one fighting. I thought he deserved to win the fight.
Yeah. Yep. It's an interesting fight. It's a wide line, very wide line. And dogs have been cashing this year. Maybe Ode can get it in him. And I want to root for the guy. I mean, you go and check Ode's Instagram, dude. This guy just seems motivated, training just a ton of training videos, training with great guys. Like you said, all the skills are there. He hasn't really seemed to put it together yet. So we'll see. All right, we got Art of War. Sun Tzu says it just bought a 100-inch screen. Jeez, you think 9 inches is big? Try 100-inch screen open invite to come to New York City to watch a card. We'll even cover catering and put you at my house. Hey, for all you guys have done and continue to do. That'd be fun. I'd be down.
That would be fun.
Heck yeah. So maybe in the future for sure we'd be down to do that. Absolutely. It'd be a fun watch party there. 11-inch is it 11-inch reach?
I think it's 9. Yeah, it is 9.
Could be hitting Luis from across the cage. Might even hit him whenever they're putting the Vaseline on outside the cage. You can reach over and start hitting him before the fight even starts, potentially. Gurule with the tomfoolery, potentially, man. Potentially. Let's be real. Ode said in his UFC debut on a McGregor card, people would remember his debut more than Conor's main event. I sure effing remember. Yes. 9 inches is a lot. Can confirm. Oh boy. Uncle Weezy, Jonathan Davis is the lead singer of the band Korn.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So that's a good win then for Gurule. At least he got it over a good name. And Dogfather was saying that Trujillo is underrated, and I know that he really watches the regional scene tape, so I'll take his word. I mean, Trujillo didn't look bad, but like I say, sometimes you want to see if they're fighting somebody you've never heard of and just has an okay record, you're like, I want to see them really put it on that dude. If they're going to be fighting at the UFC level and winning fights up here, you want to see them, putting it on Alberto Trujillo. But yeah, that was a very close fight.
Ode on the spread. Yeah, that's something I wrote down potentially. Ode on the spread. I like those spread bets, dude. Like I had Austin Hubbard plus 3.5 on the spread.
Yeah.
Which that hit. I've been having some success with those spread bets. You got to be careful though, because the judges, they are crooked and corrupt, but sometimes you can use that in your favor. They're going to be crooked and corrupt. So yeah, maybe you could get on, a plus 3.5 spread here. And I don't mind that because I'm not sure Gurule is finishing anybody at the UFC level, to be honest.
I don't see it either.
Yeah. Okay. Spread, inches, Vanessa, piping, milking. You just summed up stat diggers.
Yeah, you did.
Summed it up. All right. Let's keep moving on. To the next fight, we have Torrez Finney going against Robert Valentin. We got Finney, 26 years old, 5'8" with a 75-inch reach. Valentin, he's 30 years old, 6'2" with a 79-inch reach. Finney, 4 years younger. It's going to be Valentin with a 6-inch height advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage. Torrez Finney, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. He had 3 wins on the Contender Series. I believe he's the only fighter in Contender Series history with 3 wins, if I'm not mistaken. I know a couple have had 2, but 3. I think that might be a record for Torrez Finney there. He had 2 by knockout. No, he had 1 by submission and 1 by knockout and 1 by decision, I think. So he had all 3. As far as Valentin, he has 3-1-1 no contest in his last 5 fights. He had a knockout loss on the Ultimate Fighter finale in the 2nd round against Ryan Loder. Yeah, this is like another fun fight here. I think it's Torrez Finney. I don't know why Dana's hating on this guy. I was impressed with some of his performance. Like the Panfrov fight, I was kind of shocked Dana didn't sign him because that fight at the very least was super exciting. Finney was doing the stanky leg in the 1st round, battled a ton of adversity, got hurt really bad multiple times. Was able to kind of battle back and finish and break Panfrov and sub him in the 2nd round. I thought that was a very fun fight, the kind of fights that Dana's looking for, and he doesn't sign him. Then they gave him another shot against Cam Ralston, who Ralston's not bad. I believe Ralston's a city kickboxing guy. Obviously was very hard to take down like most city kickboxing guys are, but he was able to take him down, was able to control him, was able to win a decision. I was impressed with that fight. Was it the most exciting fight? No, but that was impressive to me what he did to Cameron Ralston. I don't think it's half bad. And then he goes out there on the 3rd time and just beat the brakes off of that poor Arami dude. Just takes him down, just beats the crap out of him and knocks him out. And Dana's forced to give him a contract at that point, but I thought he could have got a contract after the 1st fight. I don't know why Dana's hating so bad. But yeah, Finney's interesting, man. This guy's built like freaking William Knight, but he actually has solid cardio. He has solid wrestling. When he gets on top, his ground and pound's vicious as well. And he can push a pace for 15 minutes, believe it or not. I've seen him go deep into fights, getting multiple takedowns and really not slow down. If anything, his opponents are slowing down and getting broken late down the stretch. As far as Valentin Valentin's interesting. I think he's very dangerous. On the feet, I've seen him land some big shots. He had that nasty elbow on in the Ultimate Fighter house, knocked this dude out in like 30 seconds. Very slick and sneaky submission game as well. So Finney's going to have to really mind his P's and Q's, because on the feet, I don't think he's going to want anything to do with Valentin. I mean, we saw what Finney looked like in the striking against Panfrov. Just anything that Panfrov was landing was wobbling and hurting Finney. So anytime this fight's on the feet, he's in big trouble. But yeah, I think if he wants to take down Valentin, which he will be able to take him down, and he's got to kind of deal with that tricky guard of Valentin on bottom. So as the fight goes on, I do think it favors Finney more and more. Valentin, I don't think, has the best cardio. So yeah, another Dana White's Contender Series guy here. Another more chalk, minus 245 on Finney. And it's kind of terrifying because Valentin, I do think he's very dangerous early. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, so I had a 3-unit bet on Robert Valentin in the Loader fight, and that went tits up for me in a big way. Valentin definitely had some success in the first round. He had his back. He looked like he had a rear naked choke set in. Robert can grapple a little bit. He's got a very tricky submission grappling game. And if you stay on the feet with him, he's got real power on the feet as well. So he's a very dangerous fighter. He's finished 9 of his 10 wins inside the distance. He's still he turns he'll be turning 30 years old here in less than an hour. So Robert Valentin, happy birthday here 47 minutes from now in Chicago. It's already your birthday in New York. So look, the thing was about Valentin, I thought he was going to beat Loader, because when I watched Ryan Loader's tape, and Loader is a Division I All-American wrestler, but I watched Loader be unable to get some guys down on the regional scene. I think it was the Lydell Pogue fight, and there was another fight that he had on the regional scene where he wasn't getting his takedowns. And that was why I was like, man, if he has to stay standing with Valentin, he's going to lose here, because Valentin has real power and he can knock him out. Well, Loader was able to easily take him down in both rounds. And I think somebody made the really good point when I was talking about that Valentin bet when I made it. He was saying, the person I was arguing with, because I was on Valentin and he was on Loader, he goes, look, man, these guys that Valentin is out grappling, they're all Europeans, These guys that Loader couldn't take down, they're American wrestlers. He goes, the guy that you're betting on is from Switzerland. Ryan Loader is going to out wrestle the shit out of him. And I remember that got me scared about my bet. I was like, that's a really good point, because, you take an all-American, wrestler against a Euro trash grappler, who wins that every single time. I mean, we just saw Sean Brady go out there and absolutely rinse a Euro trash grappler. We just saw Bilal Muhammad, the fight before that, go out there and just absolutely rinse a Euro trash grappler, and Valentin is going to get taken down. And then good luck getting this dude off of you. He's built like a goddamn refrigerator, and so what if he gets him in an arm bar? So what if he gets him in a triangle? You lock up a triangle against Torrez Finney, he's going to stand up and he's going to slam you through the canvas. If you try to lock up an arm bar, he's probably going to stand up and throw you outside of the cage. He is ridiculously strong. Like, this guy he looks like an action figure. He doesn't look like a real human being. And the fact that this guy can wrestle for 3 rounds, it's terrifying. This is a really bad matchup for Robert Valentin. A Euro trash grappler from Switzerland trying to get Torrez Finney off of him. It's not going to go well. And if he locks up a submission, he's going to get thrown outside the cage. I really believe that. So, it'll be like Torrez Finney thrown out the garbage on garbage night, just throw it in the bin and then drag that bin out to the curb and let the professionals take care of it in the morning. I think that's what's going to happen. I think he might finish Robert on the mat with ground and pound, just like Loader did. Now, of course, Torrez isn't the same level of wrestler that Loader is, but if he gets him down, it's going to be the same type of thing. Getting Loader off of you, getting Torrez Finney off of you. Good luck, man. I hate this matchup for Valentin, but I need to watch more tape on Finney still.
Yeah, I think Valentin's gonna have to catch him. With a submission. But yeah, like you said, if he goes for a sub, could throw him out the cage.
Yeah, I'm not even joking about that. Like, oh, go ahead, lock up a triangle. What's Torrez going to do? What do you think Torrez can bench?
500.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't be surprised. He's got these short ass arms. They
Yeah.
only have to go like 9 inches in the air to fully extend. Like somebody in my Discord said they posted a picture of Torrez Finney, and my guy Remora said, this guy doesn't even look like he can touch his own shoulders.
Oh, yeah. It's true.
Can you imagine? Like, you couldn't even touch your own shoulders because your biceps are so big. So it's like, yeah. So like what? I remember this guy I knew here in Chicago. He used to be a fighter, and he wanted to see if he still had it. So he went over to there's a gym here on Lincoln Avenue in Chicago a few years ago. Do you remember Mr. International, the guy who spinning back-fisted Matt Serra?
Yeah.
So he had so many fights all over the world. He went to go grapple with what's his name? His name is escaping me right now. Oh God damn it, Mr. International. I forget his name, but he's a Chicago guy and he's got the gym here. And this guy Nick that I knew went to go grapple him, and he's like, dude, I had him in a key lock twice. I had him in a Kimura once. I had him in an Americana once. And I tried to submit him, and he's just too strong. Like there are some guys that are just too strong. You can't submit them because literally you go with 2 arms to move their 1 arm, and you can't do it. That's Torrez Finney. This guy's like got a cheat code of just like muscle on top of muscle on top of muscle. And if he can wrestle and do it for 15 minutes, he's going to be a really difficult guy to get wins off of, man. He's undefeated as a pro, and I'm really not surprised that he is. Shoney Carter, thank you. Thank you, finally.
No, I think Finney is very good. I don't know why. Like I said, I don't know why Dana took him 3 times to sign him.
You want to know why, dude?
Why?
So he beats Panfarov on Dana White's Contender Series, and they tell him get some more work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what he did was he said he wanted Torrez in the Ultimate Fighter house. So they extended the invitation, the series, the one that Valentin and Loder were on, right? They asked Torrez Finney, hey, come on the show. And he goes, no, I don't want to be in the fucking... That's the worst way to get to the UFC, is to go sleep with 12 other dudes in a house, that you're going to have to fight, and you're sharing rooms with these stinky fucks. And then you got to cut weight 3 times in 6 weeks and all that bullshit. Nobody wants to do that. And Torres was like, no, thanks, man. He took 1 fight on the regional scene, and then he came back. Dude, Dana was pissed at him. Dana was pissed off at him, let him get that win. And then you know what he does? He does it to all the popular fighters, Brady. He did it to Kennedy Nzechukwu. He did it to Ryan Spann. He did it to Bo Nickel. He did it to Caio Bahaio. I'm not impressed by your performance. Come back 3 weeks ago and impress me. Just another way to get fucking ratings on the show. So that's what he did. He watched Finney completely dismantle Panfarov in a great performance and a great fight where he showed grit. He beats Tyson Jeffries on the regional scene easily. He comes back and he has that great fight with Roston, and he says, no, not good enough. Come back in 2 weeks and shave this clown Abdullah Errami, and then I'll let you on the show. And now he's giving him a very nice matchup here. He's getting a Euro trash grappler that's not going to be able to stuff takedowns and get back up when he does get taken down. So I think that Torrez paid his dues. He got Dana the views that he needed on the Contender Series show, just like Bo Nickel did, just like Kennedy did, just like all these guys that had to come back twice to get their contract. And I think Torrez is going to have a showcase performance here, and I think he's going to look really good on Saturday.
Yeah, the over-under set at 2.5, the over 2.5. Plus 165, the under 2.5, minus 195. Another total they clearly should have put at 1.5, but instead the under 2.5 is getting smoked, just like the Jamal Emmers Miranda. They did that last week. Should have been set at 1.5. They put it at 2.5 for some reason, and then the 2.5 got smoked. Same thing here. I don't know why they're doing that, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Torrez Finney should milk Valentin for less than 1 round before he sends him to the Shadow Realms. Could see a potential milking here. Could be on the table. Could be a rinsing. Potential rinsing here.
Yeah.
I hope we get to see Valentin throw some wild stuff before exiting the UFC. And we might not get to see it here. I mean, he had Loader, the Ultimate Fighter finale. Now he's getting Finney, who's going to take him down. So maybe not this fight, but maybe next fight. All right, let's keep going, Weezy. We have interesting fight here. Should be exciting. It's a Gerald Meerschaert fight, but it's also a Brad Tavares fight. So we'll see. We got Brad Tavares going against Gerald Meerschaert. We got Brad Tavares, 37 years old, 6'1" with a 74-inch reach. Gerald Meerschaert, 37 years old, 6'1" with a 77-inch reach. Both guys same age, 37. Both guys same height. It's going to be Meerschaert with a 3-inch reach advantage. Brad Tavares is 1-4 in his last 5 fights. Decision loss against Dricus du Plessis. Knockout loss to Bruno Silva. Decision win against Chris Weidman. A knockout loss to Gregory Rodriguez. And then a decision loss against Jung Park. As far as Gerald Meerschaert, he is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Knockout loss to Joe Pyfer. Decision loss against Andre Petrosky. A submission win against Brian Barberena and Edmund Shabazian, and then a submission loss to René de Ritter. So yeah, this is an interesting fight here. Both these guys I think are kind of getting towards the end of their careers. Gerald Meerschaert has 55 fights. Brad Tavares has 30 fights. Both guys have taken a lot of damage, and Brad Tavares just hasn't looked the same since that Dricus fight. I think Dricus kind of took his soul there. Since then, got knocked out by an absolute wash, Bruno Silva. That Chris Weidman fight, I'm going to call that a loss. I mean, if you can't go out there and finish Chris Weidman off of a 3 or 4 year layoff, I'm going to call that a loss. So we lost to Chris Weidman, lost to Gregory Rodriguez, and then lost to Jung Park there. So I think it's all going to come down to whether or not, Meerschaert is able to do what he does. Either land a big shot, knock down Brad Tavares, get to the back standing, drag him down. If he's able to get on top, I think he's going to have success. But the interesting thing about this fight is Brad Tavares has elite takedown defense, some of the best takedown defense in the division. Jung Park did take him down a couple times, which kind of surprised me. Same thing, Rodriguez took him down a couple times, which kind of surprised me. But typically, very, very good takedown defense. So I think the majority of this fight is going to be taking place on the feet. And yeah, it should be interesting. We have Brad Tavares is a pretty big favorite. He is like minus 240. Gerald Meerschaert plus 205, a spot that I always have circled no matter who he's fighting. Gerald Meerschaert 2-3. If you bet 2-3 Meerschaert in every single one of his fights, you're probably on a yacht somewhere right now. This guy always wins in 2-3. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight? Two veterans, they may or may not be washed, but they're going at it this Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. These guys were born within 3 days of each other.
Crazy.
They're both in 1987. They were born December 18th for Meerschaert and December 21st for Tavares. So these guys are the exact same age. But Gerald Meerschaert has 25 more professional fights. Dude, if he submits Brad Tavares on Saturday, that will be his 30th professional win by submission. Can you imagine that? So I think there's some kind of lazy capping going on here, Brady, if I'm being honest with you, because I think what you're going to talk about when you talk about a Brad Tavares versus Gerald Meerschaert fight is that Gerald Meerschaert needs to grapple. Brad Tavares is a solid striker, and Meerschaert not the best wrestler. And Brad Tavares has always had elite takedown defense. So you just stop the analysis there and you say, yeah, I don't think Gerald's going to be able to get him down. So Tavares should be a favorite. Okay. Tavares is going to look minus 200 where against Gerald Meerschaert? Minus 200.
He didn't even look minus 200 against Chris Weidman.
I know.
Oh,
that's my point. Like, that dude is like, if you think Gerald Meerschaert is washed at 37, then what does it make fucking Weidman at 43, who's had his leg broken in half on national television? I mean, I think Gerald can win minutes on the feet here, first of all. Second of all, Brad Tavares used to have elite takedown defense. used to. If a Korean boxer is taking you down twice, you no longer have elite takedown defense. Jun Young Park is a fucking welterweight, okay?
Oh.
So I think that, like, Gerald, I think Gerald can absolutely keep this close on the feet. This is going to be southpaw versus orthodox, right? So right there, Brady, you're kind of taking out one of Brad Tavares' best weapon, which is that low calf kick. Now he's going to have to go inside low here. And now with Meerschaert, Meerschaert is no longer training at Rufus Sport. He's no longer training in South Florida. He's where? At the grappling mecca, my friend. Valley Flow Striking, Chicago, Illinois. Stand up. So Gerald, I think he's at the right camp right now. I'm hearing that Gerald has been an amazing addition to the VFS squad, and that he's raising the grappling levels of everybody that's there, and it's helping everybody kind of round out their skill set. From what I'm hearing, Gerald is as motivated now as he's ever been. So this isn't going to be close if it goes to the ground. And Gerald Meerschaert, I think it might be able to get some takedowns. And even if he doesn't, I do think that he's going to be able to be competitive on the feet here. He's got great body kicks from the southpaw stance. He's a little bit longer. He's the southpaw. He's got more experience. And so I think that this is going to be a pretty good spot for him, actually. I think that Meerschaert's going to be very live in this spot. And I think that this line is ridiculous. I mean, let me look and see where Tavares was against. See, dude, Tavares was minus 245 versus Weidman. Right? Mm-hmm. And now he's minus 210 versus Meerschaert. I just think Gerald's a lot more dangerous. Gerald was putting Renier de Ritter in some bad spots on the mat. Renier de Ritter, this is Brad Tavares. I mean, if he gets this fight down, he could really get close to getting submissions here in this fight, or potentially finish it. And I think it'll be close on the feet. Yeah, I like Meerschaert here.
Yeah, I mean, like, even on the feet, like, Meerschaert surprised me in so many fights with his striking. The Petrosky, I know Petrosky's not the best striker in the world, but his striking looked probably career best there. His striking looked really good against Bruno Silva, but Bruno Silva's kind of washed. His striking looked pretty good against Makhmud Muradov. Remember that? He took a little bit of a beating early. Then he started to kind of break Muradov, got an opportunistic takedown and submitted him. So I think Meerschaert's strike is a lot better than people think. And then, yeah, he has that incredible submission game as well. The only thing I didn't like about the de Ritter fight is, typically we see, Gerald Meerschaert doing the whole round 3 thing, but it was actually de Ritter that did it. So that was kind of weird. But yeah, if Meerschaert's showing up and he's in Valley Flow and he's in great shape, motivated, ready to go, I think it's a very winnable fight for him. I mean, he's a really big dog here. We have Tavares minus 240, actually. 240, and it's Meerschaert plus 205. And I don't know, like, what would be the best way to play Meerschaert? Would it be the money line? Because Meerschaert hasn't won a decision in the UFC yet. Or would it be the finish only? Would it be the inside the distance? What do you think?
Yeah, because it's going to be weird to see where they open this finish only, because Brad Tavares has one finish in the UFC.
Against Jocko, Christoph Jocko.
Yeah, and it was Christoph Jocko. 11 wins since the year 2013. He only finished one of them. So right there, Brady, right there, you're like, how the fuck are you making this guy a minus 200 favorite? He can't finish a banana, And you got Meerschaert out there. He's finished 12 wins. He's only got 12. A 100% finish rate. So it's like, even if this thing does go to decision, if Meerschaert's winning all the moments, he probably is going to win the decision here, Yeah. So I don't know, man. This line is weird, dude. Laying minus 200 on Brad Tavares at this point in his career, it seems really bad.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. We got Colby Sal stopping in. Do say what's up, boys? Gonna watch tomorrow. Appreciate you for stopping in. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Gerald is a beast. Don't sleep on him. I know he likes the tricky. He is tricky. He is tricky.
Yeah, very tricky.
Gerald has more miles on him than a Toyota Corolla, potentially. But I mean, how many miles did Dricus du Plessis put on Brad Tavares in that fight? I mean, sometimes going to decision and getting beat that bad over 15 is worse than getting knocked out. And how much damage did Tavares take in that Dricus fight? It was kind of hard to watch. Like, that fight should have been stopped like 50 times.
Yeah, and Meerschaert has got less minutes at the UFC level than Tavares does. Tavares got 20 fights, Meerschaert's got 22, but Tavares' average fight time is 12.9 minutes, and for Meerschaert, it's only 8.5. So actually, Meerschaert has got less miles on the engine over recent years than Tavares does.
That's a good point, because Meerschaert fights finish, and Tavares fights, they don't, unless he's getting finished. Tavares has 0 heart, and Meerschaert has no chin. Great matchmaking. Gerald has more wear and tear than a Jessica Andrade. Okay.
Hey-o.
Let's move on to the next comment. Jay Ellis, that's all I had to say. I think he has a good point here.
Yeah, that happened a long time ago, but that's one thing that Meerschaert's never going to be able to live down.
Yep. Meerschaert should milk Tavares potentially. Yeah, Meerschaert's milked plenty of guys in the UFC. I mean, let's list off the guys he's milked. You ready? Edmund Shabazian. Remember that milking?
Yes.
He milked Brian Barberena 2nd round. He milked Bruno Silva for all the milk he had, dude. Just every last drop. He milked Bruno Silva, submitted him in the 3rd. He milked Dustin Stoltzfus. Back and forth fight, milked him. He milked Mahmoud Muradov. And we know Muradov has a ton of experience with milking.
Yeah, he sure does.
Former adult entertainer, Mahmoud Muradov. So he knows all about milking. He milked, so Bartos, it wasn't really a milking, but he did submit Fabinski. He milked poor Deron Wynn. Remember Deron Wynn, the 4'11" middleweight, the 4'11" middleweight Deron Wynn?
That would miss weight every goddamn time, too. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Was he the guy that fell down the stairs at the...
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yes, it was.
Like a bowling ball just rolling out. Oh, God. He milked Officer Trevin Giles. Giles. Oh, he milked Oscar Pajota. Eric Spicely. Knocked out Eric Spicely. But I think it was a body kick.
Yeah.
He's milked a lot of people, dude. Milked a lot of people.
Yeah. And I mean, like, you look at the losses: Thiago Santos, Jack Hermanson, Kevin Holland, Eric Anders, Heinisch, Hamzat Kamaev, Krzysztof Jotko was a great minute winner, Joe Pfeiffer, Andre Petrosky, and I'm not sure that he lost that fight. That was a very close fight. And he had a good fight with Renier de Ritter, you know? So, I mean, like, dude, which one of these guys is Tavares beating outside of Jotko? You know, and that's a different stylistic fight, too, because Jotko actually took Meerschaert down and just stayed safe on top.
Yeah. Yep. That line, it does stink. It does stink. Don't laugh like a freak. Oh, I'll show you a freak. I'll show you a freak. MMA clips. You want to see a freak? You want to see a freak? I'll show you one. I'll show you a freak. Brad is not the favorite. Yeah, he's a pretty decent favorite.
Yeah,
pretty decent favorite. Deron Wynn, yeah, not good. All right, let's keep moving on. What do you say? We keep moving on to the next fight. It is Kennedy Nzechukwu going against Martin Buday. We got Kennedy, 32 years old, 6'5", 83-inch reach. Martin Buday, 33 years old, 6'4", with a 77-inch reach. We got Kennedy, 1 year younger. Kennedy, 1-inch height advantage and a 6-inch reach advantage. Kennedy Nzechukwu, he is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Submission win against Devin Clark. A knockout loss to Dustin Jacoby. Decision loss against Oven St. Preux. Knockout win against Chris Barnett. And a knockout win against Lucas Bresky. As far as Martin Buday, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. A decision win against Lucas Bresky. Decision win against Jake Collier. Submission win against Josh Parisian. A knockout loss against Shamil Gaziev, and then a decision win against Andre Arlovsky. So, Martin Buday. I don't know, dude. I just don't think Martin Buday is that great. I mean, this guy, Remember that Lucas Bresky fight that he clearly lost?
Yeah. I had 4.4 units on Buday.
Dude, this guy clearly lost to Lucas Bresky. I think I scored the fight either like 30-27, 29-28 at worst for Lucas Bresky. And yeah, wins against Jake Collier, Chris Barnett, Josh Parisian, and a 60-year-old Andrei Arlovsky. They don't impress me. The one time he fought somebody halfway decent in Shamil, he just looked terrible in that fight. Kennedy, I think Kennedy's going to have a lot of success at heavyweight, Weezy, because a lot of heavyweights just aren't that good. I think he can beat the Jake Colliers of the world. I think he can beat like the Chris Barnetts, and he did, the Josh Parisians, the Chase Shermans. I think he can beat a lot of these guys there. This guy still at heavyweight is going to be 6'5" with an 83-inch reach. I'm just not sure what Martin Buday's good at. This guy has a BJJ brown belt. He refuses to use it. This guy has solid wrestling, refuses to use it. Has he even attempted a takedown in the UFC? Maybe one takedown.
Yeah, he's averaging 0.2 takedowns on 0.7 attempts per 15 minutes. So I mean, like, obviously he's barely wrestling at all.
And it's weird because I went back and watched the fights prior to the UFC in the Contender Series, and he gets takedowns, he gets on top, and he looks good. He has great ground and pound, good submission game, but since the Contender Series fight and the UFC, there's no takedown attempts, no willingness to wrestle. If anything, he's holding his opponent against the cage. I think that's his best attribute, Weezy, at this stage of his career, holding opponents against the cage. And that's probably what he's going to try to do here. Because on the feet, I mean, it's Kennedy all day. Martin Buday is so slow. Has some power, but not. I mean, Kennedy's seen more power than Martin Buday. I mean, Martin Buday, I don't know, dude. I think this should be Kennedy. The only problem with Kennedy always will and always will be, always has and always will be, just some weird performances mixed in there, right? Like, how do you lose the OSP? How do you lose the OSP?
Yeah.
How does that happen? I don't get that. How do you get, knocked out by Da Jung and with an elbow that didn't look like it landed? I don't really get that. Get sparked by Dustin Jacoby. I don't really get that. But yeah, I think Kennedy should roll here. Outside of Martin Buday cage pushing for 15 minutes, I think Kennedy should get it done. But laying chalk on Kennedy, just never something I really like to do. But yeah, I think he wins. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, this should be Kennedy, but the thing about Kennedy was when he was fighting at 205, evidently the weight cut was just absolutely awful for him. But Kennedy's also the kind of guy who wouldn't be talking about it after a fight. If he, like, when he got knocked out by Dustin Jacoby, it wasn't like he was like, yeah, I had a bad weight cut. I just wasn't ready to go that day. He won't say that. He won't talk about his career that way. He doesn't make excuses. So I really think, like, now that he's up here at heavyweight, we might see the Kennedy that we were expecting him to be at 205. Because there were some really fucking weird performances. I mean, I know that I max bet, Brady, Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Dustin Jacoby. And it broke me. It broke me as a gambler. Like, you can actually go and look at my Bet MMA tips chart, and you will see a losing streak that lasts about 6 months start with me betting 5 units on Kennedy Nzechukwu to knock out Dustin Jacoby. And Kennedy is one of those type of fighters that, like, if he shows up that he's beating whoever he's going to be out there against. He's got too much size, too much power. He can wrestle a little bit. He's got phenomenal cardio for a big man. And I mean, like, he's another guy that looks like an action figure. So, Buday sucks. But I'll tell you one thing about Martin Buday, Brady. If he steps into the cage against somebody that's morbidly obese, Martin Buday is going to look great. I mean, you look at what he did to Fat Collier. That was a great performance by him. You look what he did to Fat Parisian. That was a great one. Fat Barnett, he just kind of took him apart in the clinch for 3 rounds and then finished him in the 3rd round. So if you're coming in fat, Martin Buday is going to own you. But unfortunately, that's not Kennedy. He's in very good shape. He's got excellent cardio. He's going to have a lot more power than Martin. Martin's not going to be able to out-wrestle him. And even if he tried, he would have to try first. And Martin doesn't like to try. He likes to take really easy fights and then coast to a 29-28 victory against those people. So I think that this is going to be pretty easy for Kennedy, but I'm imagining he's a massive favorite here. You're on mute.
No, I was just waiting for you to finish. I wasn't on.
Oh,
mute.
yeah.
I was making sure you finished everything. Yeah. Okay. So he's a big favorite. He opened up minus 225. He's minus 275. Martin Buday opened up plus 210. He's currently plus 235. They should change it. What is Martin Buday's nickname right now?
Badys. I don't know what that means in Slovakian. It's Badys though.
Batty. Let's change it to I think he should be Lazy Boy. I think that would suit him a lot more. He's so lazy, dude. You're right. He's lazy. He goes in there and he pushes opponents against the cage for 15 minutes. And that's it. That's Martin Buday's game plan.
Yeah, and even sometimes he doesn't. That was the other thing against Bresky. The reason I bet 4.4 units on him was I was like, dude, Bresky's undersized. Martin's just going to be able to push him up against the cage and wear on him. He didn't do any of that shit. 0 takedown attempts, and I believe there was less than 10 seconds of control time. Oh. So, like, even when you think that he's got that grappling path, Martin's not going to fucking use it because he's lazy.
Yeah.
So, and he's not going to hurt Kennedy. You know, who is he hurt? Lorenzo Hood?
Well, Barnett, but I think Barnett kind of hurt himself there.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, but that was in round 3, and Chris Barnett's 5'8". You know, I mean, like, Kennedy's a full foot taller than him, and we saw what he did to Fat Barnett.
Yeah, what a fight, man! What a fight! I don't know. Yeah, they do. They have a total on this one finally. So. They opened up the under 2.5 at plus 130. It's now minus 140. This was actually the last fight they got a total out on. I'm just seeing this now. So money came in on the under, which I don't know. What do you think about the total? I think Kennedy could knock out Buday. Buday typically is durable, but the Shamil fight wasn't the best look.
Yeah, I think Kennedy probably finishes him, but Kennedy, you know. Kennedy doesn't fight with a ton of urgency. You know what I'm saying? Like he's pretty comfortable in there, so he doesn't really go all out most of the time. I don't know, man. But Kennedy at minus 275, it feels like that it should be wider than that.
Yeah, it's hard to find a path for Buday outside of Kennedy beating himself.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where Martin's better than him.
Playing video games. I mean,
he's very good at Counter-Strike, I heard. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, that was how he got into MMA because he got so fucking fat playing Counter-Strike like 18 hours a day that he had to take up MMA to lose weight.
Yeah. If Buday doesn't need help now, he will get it after this fight. He's good at holding men. Yeah, he's very good at holding men. Buday, the clinch, and then that would be the other thing. Like, I could see a scenario where, you know, Kennedy just doesn't show up. It does one of those. Remember that? What was the fight where it took him the 3rd round to start fighting Kennedy? It was the
Danilo Marquez.
Yeah, the Danilo Marquez fight. Kennedy.
Well, he was getting grappled in that one.
Yeah, but he could get cage push for 10 minutes and then finally wake up, right? But yeah, Danilo Marquez grappled him for 10 minutes, took his back, controlled him, and then he knocked him out in the 3rd round. I could see like Buday holding him for a couple minutes, but that's about it.
I can't because, you know, Kennedy Nzechukwu is not a 5'11" obese man. You know, he's bigger than Martin. He's stronger than Martin. And frankly, the elbows and knees that Kennedy throws.
Yeah, sure.
I think if this gets into the clinch, I think Kennedy's going to fucking destroy him. So I don't know where Martin's really going to be better. Martin's always had good volume and conditioning, but let's face it, Kennedy's bringing that up to this division as well. So, yeah, man, like I just feel like Kennedy at minus 275 is kind of like a free square. I feel like he should be minus 500 here.
Oh, I mean, I agree. Kennedy and free square doesn't really belong in the. I mean, this guy lost to Ovin.
Yeah, I hear you. No, I know, but once again, dude, Ovin St. Preux is an athlete. Oven St. Preux played college football at the University of Tennessee. Oven St. Preux fought for a fucking title at 205 against John Jones. Oven St. Preux, at one point in his career, was a really great fighter. As a matter of fact, when Martin Buday was sitting on his 450-pound ass, eating ice cream and playing Counter-Strike all day, Oven St. Preux was fucking fighting in the top 10 of the UFC's, light heavyweight division. So, like, comparing Martin Buday to a guy who played linebacker at the University of Tennessee and who has 45 professional
in the
UFC
in the 90s, though, back in the 90s, probably.
Yeah, but I think dude, if you like, Ovens would probably beat Martin Buday. I really do think. I do.
Oh, maybe.
I mean, look at these guys that
dude,
Martin Buday is beating. I mean, come on, dude. Fat Collier, Fat Barnett, Fat Parisian, a 57-year-old Andre Arlovsky. He goes to split decision. That was a split fucking decision. I think Ovens would rinse this guy.
Dude, Ovens got...
My money's on Ovens.
Ovens got finished by Ryan Spann, dude.
All right, I'm quiet now.
Ryan Spann. That's gonna be Ryan Spann's last win ever. It's gonna be Oven St. Preux. That's his last and final win.
Yeah, I don't know how you could have shut me up any more efficiently than that, Brady. Well done.
But yeah, I like Kennedy here, and I might look at the 2-3 props potentially, but I have a feeling they're going to be quite terrible. This goes over. Kennedy by decision. Okay. Kennedy by sub if Buday tries to cage push. Just how, Kennedy subbed Clark. Kennedy versus OSB was a light sparring match. Yeah, that was super, super frustrating. Weezy hates Buday. I think we all are not big fans of Martin Buday.
I don't hate him, but I do think he's a little bit lazy sometimes. Yeah. And I mean, I almost lost 4.4 units on him against Lukas Bresky. So after that, man, I was always very cautious about Buday. But I remember I thought about betting him versus Gaziev because I know that Gaziev has 1 round of cardio, So I actually thought that Martin might win that fight, but I don't think I bet him.
And I agree. And enough respecting Jake Collier, disrespecting. I mean, Jake Collier is a legend. Remember when Gaziev was an underdog? Was he an underdog to Martin?
He was, dude, because everybody knew that Gaziev had 1 round of cardio.
Oh, my gosh. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, let's move on to the next fight. This should be a fun one. We got Cortavious, Are You Not Entertained? Romious going against Chang-Ho, the Korean Khabib Lee. We got Cortavious, Are You Not Entertained? Romious, 31 years old, 5'4", with a 68-inch reach. Chang-Ho, the Korean Khabib Nurmagomedov Lee. He is 30 years old, 5'8", with a 69-inch reach. We got Lee 1 year younger. Lee with a 4-inch height advantage and a 1-inch reach advantage. Cortavious, Are You Not Entertained? Romious, he is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Knockout loss against Ramon Tavares on the Contender Series. Got a decision win against Michael Imperato in his next Contender Series fight. And then lost to Gaston Bolaños as a favorite by decision in his last fight there. Looked absolutely god-awful. As far as Chang-Ho Lee, he was a road to UFC guy. And he won against Long Zhao in that fight. Very close fight. Could have went either way, but ended up getting the nod. Oh, this is an interesting fight because we have a road to UFC guy. And for me, Weezy, two things that I don't like seeing. Road to UFC guys and Cage Warriors guys as favorites, dude. I mean, how bad have these road to UFC and Cage Warrior fighters been? It's been awful, dude. It's been awful. So when I see a Cage Warriors fighter or a road to UFC fighter as a favorite, I have some pause. But on the flip side, you have Cortavious Romious, and I had a bet on Romious in his last fight. I bet him to win inside the distance. I thought he might be able to, finish Gaston Bolaños, who's been submitted in a couple losses. And he had some moments, showed some grappling here and there, but he did make a ton of mistakes in that fight. I don't like the fight IQ of Cortavious Romious, and he's going against Chang-Ho Lee, who's probably going to try to hump his leg for 15 minutes. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a fun fight. I think it'll be an entertaining fight. I think Cortavious does live up to the nickname because whenever he does fight, it is pretty entertaining. Weezy, what do you think about this fight? I'm surprised this is on the main card, to be honest. I think it should be fun, but both these fighters just seem very, very untrustworthy. What are your thoughts here, Weezy?
Yeah, if this is on the main card and Santos versus Grant isn't,
right,
we riot. We absolutely riot because, first of all, okay, you can't call yourself the fucking Korean Khabib when you get out wrestled by Zhao Long. Okay, Zhao Long won 78% of the control time positions in that fight. Okay. So, I mean, can you imagine Khabib going out there and losing grappling exchanges to Zhao Long? So he's not the I guess he is kind of the Korean Khabib. Self-proclaimed Korean Khabib, like kind of like when Alencar Perez changed her nickname to Nurmagomedov for like a week, and she got rinsed online for it, and then changed it back to Fiona. So this is a fun fight though, because Chang-Ho is very aggressive with the grappling. He's definitely going to be shooting takedowns. He's going to look to push a pace, and he's the kind of guy who can kind of lose, but then with his pace, find something in a scramble, find a dominant position, find a submission attempt, and he can go the full 15 minutes at a pretty high pace. And Romious, he's not the best wrestler. He spends a lot of time in control time positions. So, but he's going to be a lot more aggressive with his Brazilian jiu-jitsu than these clowns that Lee was fighting. I mean, he fought Rana Singh and then, a couple of China grapplers.
Who is that guy on the Road to UFC that what's his name? Zawapisi
Dermisi.
Yeah, wasn't Dermisi up like 2 rounds?
So yes, I believe he was. There was a good fight. It was back and forth. He was definitely getting out grappled, but then he found a dominant position in the 3rd round and finished with ground and pound, I guess. But it was a great fight, and I bet on Chang-Ho Lee against Zhao Long. And, after that fight was over, I think I got like plus 100, maybe plus 105 on Lee. And I was disgusted with the bet because I was like, you know what, man, you kind of knew you were flipping a coin here, and you wound up flipping a coin and you guessed heads and it was right. But dude, that's not what we're not in the business of trying to,
I was pissed. I was pissed, dude. I was getting so hyped about the Korean Khabib Nurmagomedov. I didn't bet him, but I went like so heavy on DraftKings. Dude, I'm getting the Korean Khabib, man. He's going to get like 10 takedowns against this bum Long Zhao, and he's getting out grappled by him. He's getting out controlled by him. So, I was pissed as well. But yeah, he did win.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting because on the feet, Romious is going to be throwing. Dude, Romious is going to be looking to take this dude's head off. Heavy body kicks, heavy head kicks, heavy hands. Cortavious is bricked up and he's got some power on him. He's got pretty good Brazilian jiu-jitsu, so I think he's going to be able to threaten with submissions. I think that this one is probably going to play out a lot like Zhao Long versus Lee, although I think Lee will have more wrestling success and more minute-winning success. But I think instead of Zhao Long not doing much on the feet, I think Romious is going to be landing the bigger shots wherever this fight goes, and is going to probably have Lee in some deep submission attempts as well. So I think that this is going to play out really close. It's going to be a really fun fight.
Yeah, I'm seeing it the same way. I think it's a close fight here. I think both guys can win some minutes, but I think Romious is definitely the better moment winner. Like his Brazilian jiu-jitsu is very slick. Very aggressive as well, and then clearly has that striking advantage, that power. But Chang-Ho Lee could potentially get some takedowns, end up on top. Something I could see this being like a damage over control type fight, right? Where Romious lands some big shots, gets Lee in some submission attempts. the fight goes the distance. Do the crooked, corrupt judges, do they favor the damage that Romious landed, or do they favor the control? Like it all comes down to what these crooked, corrupt, blind judges think. So yeah, I see it being a competitive one. I think the finish upside's probably on the Romious side, at least early. Maybe Lee can get a late finish. I'm just not sold that Lee can finish, guys at this level, to be honest. Lee opened up minus 250. He's currently minus 165. Romious opened up plus 210, currently plus 145. So some money is coming in on Romious. The over under set at 2.5 rounds. The over 2.5 minus 180. The under 2.5 is plus 150. Again, I'm not sure why this is on the main card. It should be fun though. Should be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a fun fight. I mean, Romious is in fun fights, and Lee pushes a pace and is very aggressive as well. I just think that Romious is being a little bit underrated here because I personally bet on Bolaños against him because I actually think Bolaños is a really good fighter. Dude, Bolaños has got really underrated striking, and his anti-grappling isn't as bad as everybody says it was. So, like, people were thinking that Cortavious was going to go out there and out-wrestle him, and I was like, that's probably going to be very difficult, but Gaston's way better on the feet than Cortavious. But, as much better as Gaston was than Cortavious on the feet, Cortavious is a lot better on the feet than Chang-Ho Lee is. So I think that maybe there might be some value on the Cortavious side here. Like I said, I think that this one plays out real close, and one guy's minus 165 and the other one's plus 145.
Yeah, I think the reason the line's where it's at is because God and Romious look awful in his last fight, and I think he burned a lot of people. Like he burnt me. He was a favorite in that Bolaños fight, right? Like minus.
Oh yeah, I think I got plus 170 on Bolaños. So that was a good cash.
Jeez, plus 170. Yeah. So maybe he burned some people, and yeah, I think this should be line closer as well. Every fighter on this card is ass.
No,
it's
not true. We're about to talk about Joe Anderson Brito versus Pat Sabatini, man.
Oh, geez, that fight. That's a main card fight. That's a main card fight right there. Long robbed. I mean, it was close. It was close.
It was a close fight. Yeah, I thought Long Zhao won though, and I had money on Lee.
I think I scored it for Long Zhao as well, and I was very disappointed in Chang-Ho Lee.
And Long Zhao looked really good the next time out.
He did. He against Kwong Lee.
Oh yeah, he made Kwong look pretty bad. I remember he beat the shit out of Kwong Lee. No, that wasn't just looking bad. Like he almost finished him several different times. I think.
I think that was the Jan Figueiredo card that was like at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, Macau. That you can't even watch those fights thanks to ESPN and their stench app.
Yeah.
I'm throwing a party. Anybody in Chicago, the day that contract gets broken, there's a party at Wheezy's in Chicago, and it is going to be legendary. And we're going to say goodbye to all these pricks at Disney and say, you don't get to ruin our mixed martial arts broadcast anymore, losers.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Oh, apparently the Korean Makhachev was already taken. So he went with the Korean Khabib Nurmagomedov. Oh, it's crazy, dude. What's wrong with people? How are you?
I don't know.
I don't get it. The Korean Greg Hardy. Oh boy.
This must have had some domestic arrests then.
Oh
God, Greg Hardy. Get some help.
Greg Hardy. See, this one makes sense. The Korean Dylan Butka. There we go. That's a great nickname. The Korean Dylan Butka, because that's kind of what he is. That's kind of what he is, a Dylan Butka. I can see that. No, Wheezy. What'd you do?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Brito is an ass when he lost to some French baguette. Gomi? Oh, I thought he beat Gomi, but yeah. Is there a Korean John Jones?
Yeah, that's Da-Un Jung, the Korean John Jones.
Oh, he's been looking like Da-Un Bum lately, though.
Yeah, he has. It's been a rough run for Da.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, before we get into the co-main event, if you guys have not already, be sure to pipe up that like button, just like poor Poor CJ Vergara got piped on site against Edgar Chairez last night, UFC Mexico City. Pipe it up for Edgar Chairez there. Do want to shout out the sponsor of the show, and that is our guy Avery. If you guys have not followed him on X, go do so. He does giveaways, he posts his takes. Go shout out Avery. This show is brought to you by Avery. And appreciate you all hanging out. We've had a good crowd. 500 people in here at 1 o'clock in the morning. You guys are freaking awesome. All right, we'll move on to the next fight. And it is a very good one. It is, if I can click on the right, there it is. Pat Sabatini going against Joanderson Brito. We got Pat Sabatini, 34 years old, 5'8" with a 70-inch reach. Joanderson Brito, he is 30 years old, 5'8" with a 72-inch reach. Joanderson Brito is 4 years younger. He's going to have the same height, and he's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. Pat Sabatini is 3-2 in his last 5 fights, a decision win against TJ Laramie, a knockout loss against Damon Jackson, a submission win against Lucas Almeida, knockout loss against Diego Lopez, and then a submission win against Jonathan Pierce. As far as Joanderson Brito, he is 4-1 in his last 5 fights, submission win against Lucas Alexander, a knockout win against Poor Weston Wilson, submission win against Jonathan Pierce, a knockout win against Jack Shore, and a decision loss to William, the split decision merchant Gomes. So, we have a striker versus grappler matchup, although Brito, this guy's a black belt. He can grapple a little bit himself, but, it's clear as day what he's going to want to do in this fight. He's going to want to keep this fight on the feet, where, quite frankly, he just has an astronomical advantage. Pat Sabatini is not going to want to stand and strike with Brito for many reasons. The chin of Pat Sabatini, it's been very questionable. We saw Lopez knock him out. We saw Damon Jackson knock him out. We saw Jamal Emmers drop him, almost knock him out. So the chin of Sabatini is definitely questionable, and Brito's somebody that definitely can crack that chin. So Pat Sabatini is going to look to get it down to the mat and control Brito here in this fight. So striker versus grappler matchup should be a fun one. Love this fight. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight here?
Yeah, both of these guys are extremely comfortable in the grappling exchanges. You see that Joanderson Brito in 7 UFC fights has only spent 28% of his UFC octagon time at distance striking range. And for Pat Sabatini, he's even less comfortable there. He only spends 21% of his UFC octagon time at distance striking range. So both of these guys are spending a lot of time on the mat and on the fence. And Pat Sabatini is going to be the better wrestler there. And he's going to be the more dangerous submission grappler. Pat wins about 83% of the control time positions in his fights, and he outcontrols his opponents 65% to about 13.5%. So Joanderson Brito gets a lot of control time in his own right, 42% control time for, 30% control time allowed. So that's a little bit tricky because Joanderson is getting controlled a lot. He's spending 72% of his octagon time in control time positions. So this is not a guy that I'm counting on to be able to keep this fight standing. And as a matter of fact, what we don't have in these stats, Brady, is Joanderson Brito's fight versus Diego Lopez on the Contender Series, where we didn't see Joanderson go out there and look to avoid the grappling exchanges. As a matter of fact, what he said was, I'm taking you down, and I'm going to stay on top of you and stay safe from submissions. And that's how he won that fight. And then it got stopped in the 3rd round due to an eye poke, and then went to a technical decision. So Brito, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he takes Pat down here and tries to stay on top, because maybe that's where he'll be most comfortable. So this is interesting because, I think people are looking at this fight like, if it stays standing, Brito wins. If it goes to the ground, Sabatini wins. But I could see Joanderson winning minutes on the ground here. Pat wants to be there. Pat wants to grapple. But yet Joanderson Brito, while he's been controlled on the mat by Jonathan Pierce, he's been controlled on the fence by William Gomes. He's been Algio even had success getting him down and controlling him on the fence. So, Brito, it's just odd. You don't expect to see Joanderson Brito spending 72% of his octagon time in control time positions, as dangerous as he is standing. But I think Pat's gonna be able to get this to the grappling exchanges. It's just a matter of who initiates the wrestling exchanges and who winds up getting to dominant positions here. I mean, I think Pat can absolutely do that. And I think Joe Anderson might be able to actually get on top himself and win minutes. So I think Joe Anderson just has way more ways to win this fight, Brady. That's the way I'm seeing it. Pat needs a submission. If this thing stays standing, Pat's fucked.
Oh.
He's got no chin, dude. It's not that Pat can't strike. Pat's a fine striker. He's technical. He's got good weapons. He just doesn't have the durability. You know, and I mean, I guess it's okay because Pat does do his best work in the grappling exchanges. So, but I just think Joe Anderson's got way more ways to win, because it's not like Joe Anderson's going to be uncomfortable on the mat here. As a matter of fact, I think he will give up his back a couple of times to stand up, and he probably will get back up because he's that athletic, that strong. So I'm leaning to the Brito side here, but I'm not a huge fan of his fight IQ.
Yeah.
And that might get him put in some really bad spots against a guy like Pat Sabatini.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like for Pat Sabatini to win this fight, he's just gonna have to fight a perfect fight here. You know, either a 15-minute fight. I don't think he's submitting Brito personally. I mean, if Diego Lopez couldn't, Pat Sabatini, I don't think will. Brito is a black belt. But yeah, I think for Sabatini to win this fight, he will need to get takedowns, which is definitely possible. We've seen Brito taken down by much less wrestler and grapplers. But I feel like at some point, this fight's going to be on the feet, and at some point, he's going to touch the chin. It won't take much. We saw Damon Jackson, hurt Sabatini with I think one of the first strikes he landed, and Damon Jackson more like a round 2-3 guy. So,
and don't forget that Jamal Emmers dropped his ass.
Yeah, remember? I mean, yeah, Jamal Emmers, he should have finished, but he went for a leg or a heel hook.
He followed him down instead of getting him back up to his feet. So we've seen Damon Jackson knock this guy out cold. We've seen Jamal Emmers have him in trouble. And I seem to remember somebody else just cracking Sabatini. Oh, yeah. Well, Diego Lopez.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So, yeah, I think Brito by knockout is my pick. The over-under set at 1.5. I think is this the only over-under set at 1.5 this week? I think so.
No, I think we got one more. Oh, wait, you might be right. Yeah, it is, dude.
Wow. Because the Valentin Finney fight should be at 1.5, but they put it at 2.5. So yeah, the only fight at 1.5 is this fight here. And yeah, I like violence here, I think. But I kind of want those extra 5 minutes if I were to bet it. But yeah, that 1.5 is kind of tricky there. But I think Brito could knock out Sabatini in the first round. Sabatini has 2 or 3 knockout losses. I think all 3 are in the first, but one was an injury though.
Yeah, one of them was actually a submission.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, but no, it was like when Virna Jandiroba, remember that? When she submitted Kaneko Murata, it was the same exact thing. It was an arm lock, and her elbow had dislocated. So, and it was Pat that his elbow. It was Jason the Alley Cat Gonzalez, former UFC fighter, that submitted him in CFFC, and then Pat tried to keep fighting with one arm, and then the ref stopped it, so it was listed as a KO.
Makes sense. Brito by KO, Sabatini by sub, no distance. Yeah, I don't mind the no distance. Sabatini is a very dangerous grappler, and yeah, he could get into dominant positions. If he stands, he goes. What's you're saying, Weezy? Night, keep your butthole tight. Is that?
I wish I could take credit for it. It's definitely a Dave Chappelle, but it's night, keep your butthole tight. Yes, yeah.
I wonder what could have possibly been the skit he did for that.
That was the Mad Real World, where instead of the old MTV Real World, where there would be like 6 white people and 1 black person in the house, like Dave Chappelle's idea was, what if we had like 1 white person and like 6 black people in the house, and the poor white guy, he had to room with Lysol, who had just gotten out of prison, So that was when Tron told him, night, keep your butthole tight,
Love Dave Chappelle.
He is the man.
Oh, love me some Demopoulos, absolutely. Not even overthinking it. Brito first round KO. That's probably my pick. So Brito was a bigger favorite. He opened up minus 400, and he's currently minus 210 now. Pat Sabatini opened up plus 300. He's currently plus 180. So I think people maybe going back and watching that Algio fight, seeing Bill Algio take down Brito. So there is a path for Sabatini. There absolutely is a path. But will the chin hold up is the question. You can't work your chin out. It's nappy time. Marcel liking some Brito by knockout. All right. The old Shannon. You can't compare Sabatini to Shannon. I mean, Pat Sabatini is so much better than Shannon Ross. Come on. Let's show some respect. Let's show some respect. All right, Weezy, it's the main event. We have Josh Emmett going against Lerone Murphy. We got Josh Emmett, 40 years old, 5'6" with a 70-inch reach. Lerone Murphy, 33 years old, 5'9" with a 73-inch reach. Murphy, 7 years younger, 3-inch height advantage and a 3-inch reach advantage. Emmett, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Decision win against Dan Ige. Decision win against Calvin Kattar. Submission loss to Yair Rodriguez. Decision loss to Elia Topuria. And then a knockout win against Bryce Mitchell. As far as Lerone Murphy, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Knockout win against Makwan Americani, decision win against Gabriel Santos, decision win against Josh Kulabau, decision win against Edson Barbosa, and a decision win against Dan Ige. Josh Emmett coming back a year and 3 months layoff, which I don't know. That makes no sense to me. I mean, he took no damage. I mean, Bryce Mitchell didn't land a punch. I mean, did he damage his fist? Did he damage
that could have been.
Did he break his wrist from hitting Bryce Mitchell so hard? I mean, what's with this layoff? But yeah, I don't love that for a 40-year-old featherweight. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Josh Emmett fan. I love the fact that this guy has so much power. He's produced so much fun knockouts. But the fact of the matter is, this guy's 40 years old at a lower weight class, fighting some of the best guys in the division, including Lerone Murphy, who has not lost a fight yet, who looked career best against Edson Barbosa. Good fight against Dan Ige. For me, it's Murphy. Murphy by decision, just doing the better work over 25 minutes. But, Josh Emmett has a ton of power, fight-changing power. The last thing to go is power. But I like Murphy here. This is a fight from a betting perspective, though, I just don't have much interest in. Murphy minus 310, Josh Emmett plus 260. If anything, maybe the Emmett KO prop is always worth a sprinkle. I actually bet Emmett by KO against Bryce Mitchell at something stupid like plus 500 that night. But, yeah. It's Murphy by decision, but from a betting perspective, it's not a ton sticking out. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this main event?
Yeah, it's weird because, Emmett's this guy that you don't really think of as a great minute winner, but he's 10-2 to the decision in his career, which is really impressive, for somebody with one punch, lights out, like concussive KO power. It's surprising that Josh has done that well in decisions. So he can really strike with the best of them, But the thing is that Murphy is such an effective minute winner. I mean, you look at that 50% distance striking accuracy. That's really good. 63.5% distance striking defense is really good. He's been dropped a couple times, but he flashes some power. He's got pretty good minute winning wherever the fight goes. But that was a masterclass performance against Edson Barbosa. And if he could do that to Edson on the feet, he could do that to Josh Emmett on the feet. But the one thing about getting old, Brady, is that the power is the last thing to go, So even if Josh isn't really winning minutes anymore, we can't really count on him to wrestle at 40 years of age. He barely has done that anyway at this level. We can't really count on him to put on a 5-round pace here. And land 200 significant strikes. That's not Josh Emmett's game either. He's either going to crack you with something at some point in the fight and have a chance to finish you, or against an opponent like Lerone Murphy, who's 33 years old, who's undefeated as a professional, who's obviously the better athlete, who's obviously faster, who's obviously, just as explosive as Josh Emmett is in this career, at this point in his career. The question is, does Josh land a bomb? And even then, does he even land a bomb before Murphy does? Because it's not like, Josh Emmett's invincible and has this ridiculous durability. We've seen him finish twice at this level. He got submitted by Yair Rodriguez recently. So, Murphy is looking very good. But still, the last 5 opponents are Makwan Amirkhani, Gabriel Santos. Not sure he won that fight. Josh Kulabau, that's not a win that's knocking your socks off. Edson Barbosa, he looked great there. And then he won a 29-28 against Dan Ige. I don't know, man. Like this is probably what's the line on this, Brady?
Yeah, minus 300 for Murphy, plus 260 for Emmett.
Yeah, I think it probably plays out a little bit closer than that, But yeah, dude, like there's no grappling upside with Josh Emmett, He's just got to land that knockdown. But god damn, dude, 12 knockdowns in 14 UFC fights. And then the last time out, he goes and he does that to Bryce Mitchell. I know Bryce isn't the best striker, but Bryce is fucking legit. That's a top 15 guy in this weight class who's got really good grappling. And that was a terrifying knockout. Terrifying. So, yeah, man, Josh Emmett's live. He's still, he could be 43 and be live because of that power.
No, I agree. Yeah, the picks Murphy by decision. Maybe like a Emmett finish only. I mean, he's big plus money. That finish only should be plus money as well.
Yeah, and I've been calling LaRon Murphy pillow fists because I'm mad at him. I had a fight doesn't go to decision for the Murphy Barbosa fight, and he just beat the fuck out of Barbosa for 5 rounds, but didn't finish him. And I was pissed off that he didn't finish him. So yeah, I don't know if he's going to finish Josh Emmett.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe. I mean, he almost finished Barbosa. I mean, Barbosa did the stanky leg like 5 times that fight. But
I know, but it's close, but no cigar. My bet did not cash. And I was pissed off. And I think I had, I think that was I had Barbosa's money line and fight doesn't go to decision. So it was one of those ones where it's like, as long as LaRon Murphy doesn't win by decision here, and then he's up like 30-24 after 3 rounds. And it's just like, come on, finish him. You got to finish him because he's already winning the decision. So that was like torture watching that fight, man.
Yeah, that had to suck. He looked so good in that fight, Murphy. I couldn't believe it. But
yeah, he looked great.
All right. So yeah, we did it. Went through all, was it 13 fights, 12 fights, 13?
I think 13. Yeah.
Okay. 13 fights. We have a couple things we need to do. So last week, Weezy, we let the chat decide the piping of the week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a push. So I think it's only fair we let them decide again. But I think to make it fun, me and you should each pick 2 names. We'll put 4 options. We'll let the chat vote. So we'll pick 4 names here. So I'll let you go first. Pick one person you think could potentially pipe their opponent on site.
I'm going to go with Kennedy Nzechukwu as my first selection.
Okay. Kennedy Nzechukwu. Okay. My first pick of a potential on-site piping is going to be Torrez Finney.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent selection. And I think because I went first, you should get the 3rd selection, and then I'll go 4th.
I'm going to throw a curveball out there at people. My second option, I think a potential on-site piping could be Loma Lookboonmee to pipe Istela Nunes on site this Saturday. That'll be my second option.
She could get a finish. I mean, she's minus 700, so obviously a finish should be on the table there. And then for a good, let me see, because we got Finney, we got Nzechukwu, you've got Loma, and okay. It's Joe Anderson Brito. When this guy wins, he wins violently. So I could see him piping Pat Sabatini on site here because he's the much better striker here. And Barbosa would have been a good option as well, I think.
She would have been
more of a milking, maybe.
Yeah, we're just going to transition into that. I see some Barbosa in the chat. I don't think it's going to be a piping in that Barbosa fight. I think she's going to take her down. She's gonna come out, with the overalls, She's gonna with the
Straw hat,
the straw hat, the straw hanging out of the mouth.
yeah.
And she's gonna come into the cage. She's gonna throw Dione Belbita on all fours, and she's gonna slowly just milk into the bucket. And I think she might milk Dione Belbita this Saturday. I think there's only one option, dude. I mean, I think there's only one option for milking, and I think that's Dione Barbosa.
I agree. I agree with you there. But let's see what the people think. So we got for piping of the week, we're looking at Nzechukwu, Torrez, Finney, Loma, Lookboonmee, and then Joe Anderson Brito.
All right, guys, we need more votes. I mean, we only have 20 votes. Come on. I know it's late. Come on. Guys. Come on. And while we're waiting for them to vote, we'll come up with a parlay. Stat Diggers parlay of the week. We need 2 legs. And yeah, there's a lot of options this week, Weezy. A lot of options, a lot of decent favorites. Kennedy Nzechukwu should get the job done. Torrez, Finney, potential option. Who else? We don't want to parlay Loma or Barbosa, although they should win. But yeah, we have a couple options. What do you think for a potential parlay this week?
I even think we can throw like the Falcao Hendry fight. I think that one goes over at a high clip. That's minus 260 for an over 2.5 there. I think that's a potential leg. And I think Kennedy and Nzechukwu is definitely a potential leg. And I mean, Torrez against a Eurotrash grappler like Robert Valentin, I could really see him doing it. But why don't you go first? Because there's a couple different legs that I like.
Yeah, I think the leg I'd be most comfortable with in terms of there being value, in terms of having confidence, and it has to be Kennedy.
I agree there.
That was 75.
That was definitely going to be my leg too. And then I got to choose now between Torrez, Finney's money line, or the over 2.5 rounds in the Falcao Hendry fight. And just because Valentin's got like some ridiculous power and a cheeky submission game, but I don't see Victor Hendry or Pedro Falcao getting a finish. Let's see what Nzechukwu and the over 2.5 rounds for Falcao Hendry. It's minus 113. God damn it. Let's see if we take that over out. Can we get to plus money if we take Torrez Finney minus 245? It's minus 109. God damn. We could get a little bit risky here, Brady. We can get a little bit risky, but when there's more risk, there's more reward.
Okay.
How about
Luis Gurule?
Hell no. How about an under 1.5 rounds for Joe Anderson Brito versus Pat Sabatini?
I want a 2.5. Give me 2.5.
I want 2.5 too, but we don't have that.
2.5 would be perfect.
We could be pricks, Brady.
Okay.
We could be big pricks. What about an under 2.5 rounds in a fight that could potentially be a milking in Barbosa versus Belbita? We could take that under 2.5 rounds at minus 115. Look for a Barbosa sub. Parlay that with Kennedy and Nzechukwu's money line and get plus 155. Now we're cooking with gas.
Now that's something we could get behind. Plus 155. I can get behind that.
And we're just saying that Belbita Barbosa in the small cage is probably going to be a Barbosa finish via armbar in round number 1.
Yep. Makes sense. Yep. So the Stat Diggers parlay of the week is the Kennedy and Nzechukwu money line and the under in the Barbosa Belbita fight. And let's see if we got the on-site piping. All right. So I'm going to end the poll. And to be honest, it wasn't even close. It was not even close.
Okay.
And I'm going to type it up here. So the on-site piping of the week is to pipe on-site at UFC Vegas 105. Okay. The on-site piping of the week is Joe Anderson Brito to pipe Pat Sabatini on site at UFC 105. There you have it.
All right. Yeah, that's. I mean, I could see that happening. Obviously, Brito is a guy that is just terrifying.
And then
for the on-site milking or the stat diggers milking of the week. Let's see who are Dione Bar. Yeah.
To milk Dione Belbita dry.
And Dione Belbita now moving back up to flyweight, going to have a little more milk in her, isn't she? Not looking all skinny as hell at 115. Diana will be looking like a lot more of a snack at 125.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking it might be whole milk.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I got to get to bed, dude. I got to wake up at like 7.
Oh, dear God.
It's so we got
3-hour show. We're having too much fun again.
We're having too much fun. But yeah, Weezy, any final thoughts on the card, and then also let the people know where they can support you.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, this is a fun card. I'm looking at the Demopoulos money line. I'm looking at Nzechukwu as a potential parlay piece this week. I'm looking at the under in the Sabatini Brito fight. I'm looking at the under in the Belbita Barbosa fight. I think Osbourne at plus 190 versus Luis Gurule has got some meat on the bone. And I think Gerald Meerschaert at plus 205 versus Tavares has got some meat on the bone. I might have a lot of action this week, man. So I'm looking forward to finishing up the research on this fight. If you guys want to support my work, you can find my probability stats and content package over at oddsshopper.com. You can find Uncle Weezy on there under the MMA and boxing cappers, and you can get access to this phenomenal stats that you see here. Over-under betting models, prop betting models, matchup stats, individual fighter stats, DFS stats, underdog, prize pick stats, 4 hours of original content every week over 2 different shows, fight write-ups, access to the Discord, access to all my track bets. And I am shaving bookie ass this year, Brady. So you can support me there. You can find me on YouTube at Uncle Weezy. You can find me on X at MMA Weezy, and you could find me on X in my college years actually as well. But that was a long time ago, and we don't need to talk about that. So yeah, let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks, Brady, for UFC Vegas 105. Who?
It's a greasy card, but the greasier cards, man. The greasier cards are the ones that you can really take advantage of some of these lines. Like a lot of dogs sticking out, dude. I think we went over like maybe 6-7 dogs. I think have some potential value. Like, the Alencar fight's a pick 'em. Like Rhys McKee, I actually think is live. I think Davey Grant's live. I think Oday's live. I think GM3's live. I think Romious is live. So yeah, I think
he could catch a sub. Robert Valentin could land a massive elbow that just levels Finney. I mean, there's, I don't know about Istela Nunes this week, but yeah, there's a lot of live underdogs, man.
Yeah, so it should be good. Some live underdogs and some violence. The year is 2025, and it's been good to us both, and hopefully it continues for UFC Vegas 105. Thank you all so much for hanging out. I like these late shows, dude. We've had some really good crowds, really good chat interaction. Only got into it with one guy today. Who's that jackass earlier? Some jackass
way up there, and I'm not scrolling all the way up. But yeah, he wasn't happy with me.
Was not happy with me, but everybody else was cool. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys could do us a favor, like on your way out, subscribe to the channel. And best of luck for UFC Vegas. Moise, it was not you. It was not you. Best of luck for UFC Vegas 105. We'll see you later.